Serena Cox claims her brother ruined a romantic evening she had planned by scaring her date away. Bruce Cox says he was doing his sister a favor as her date from the mailroom had a bad reputation.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Cox versus Cox. Ms. Cox, you are suing your brother, Mr. Cox, for ruining your romantic date. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Cox, you just say you are a protective brother and just doing what you're supposed to do.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Let's start from the beginning, Ms. Cox. What date is this? Who was this date with?
So, Your Honor, my date, Mr. River, I've been having my eye on him for months, and he finally said yes to a date. So.
Oh, you asked him out?
Yeah, I asked him out.
And you had him an eye on him where?
Well, he works in the mailroom where I work at. I work in the C-suite, so.
He's a mail boy.
Your Honor, can I finish?
All right, so you work at a company, he works in the mailroom,
Yes.
You've been having your eye on him, and you ask him out.
Yes, so I asked him out, and he says yes, so I planned a date. That's how I got my job. I planned things, so I planned the whole date out, and it was completely ruined by my brother.
All right, so tell me what the date entailed.
Well, we're getting on the train. I spot my brother Bruce, and he gets on the train with us. So he come along with us, and he's talking.
How does your brother even know you're going on a date?
Exactly. He came out of nowhere. He comes out of nowhere. He spots me. I spot him. He comes out of nowhere. Now he's on the train with us, right? And he's all on my date like, hey, son, let me talk to my sis. And makes my date sit across from me.
How did you know where the date, how did you know anything, Mr. Cox?
This is purely coincidental. I was just going home, and I spot my sister on a train with this Steve Urkel looking guy.
Don't do that.
And that's pretty much how it happened. I do not know this guy. I mean, I know of him. His name is in the street as, he's a player. He's a macaroni guy. He's Don Juan.
A macaroni guy?
Yeah, he's the macaroni guy. He's Don Juan. He's slick with the tongue.
Oh, like a Mac
yeah,
and
he's
girl.
a Mac, yeah.
Oh, all right. So what'd you say?
I just said, I asked Mr. Mailroom here to slide over so I can talk to my sister. And I kind of let her know that this guy's a player, and I just try to warn her, look out for her.
That's how you asked me to move over?
So when you saw him, you were like, oh, I don't want my sister with him.
Absolutely.
All right. And so, Ms. Cox, when he says something to you about your date, what do you say back?
See, that's the thing. My brother, he's always been looking out for me. He's always been taking care of me. So it's like, I said okay just to shut him up because he will not be quiet. He's going to keep talking until he gets his point across.
All right, and then what happened? You're on the train. Does your brother keep going with you, or do you get off the train and proceed on the date that you've planned?
Yes, we get off the train very shortly, and Bruce is following us to the restaurant that we go to. So now we have this third wheel. We go into the restaurant, and keep in mind, I pre-reserved the spot, I pre-reserved the food. So, yes, everything is pre-reserved, but so we get to the spot, and my date, he's all in my face. He's all in my date's face. Sorry. He's all in my date's face. And my date ends up asking to go to the bathroom, and he never comes back. And now I got Bruce in my face like, see, sis, that's why you didn't need him, like telling me that. So your date, who is your witness today, ended up saying, okay, well, I want to hear from him directly. Please stand, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, Mr. Mailroom.
Step up to the podium. You've been sworn in already. State your name for the court.
Your Honor, my name is River Wilkins.
All right, Mr. Wilkins, so Ms. Cox asked you out on a date. You all work at the same place.
Yes, ma'am.
You all get on the train and get ready to go on a date. And then you see Mr. Cox, or Mr. Cox comes up to you all. Have you ever seen Mr. Cox before?
No, I've never seen him before.
Do you know him?
I've heard about him because, like she said, she said she had her eye on me, but I also had my eyes on her. I just had no idea she would
Your Honor,
ever
how can
come
you
up.
see her from the mailroom?
See?
Are you serious?
See?
That's easy.
Right.
That's easy to do. You being condescending now. Once Mr. Cox, confronts you, what happens after that?
Well, it started on the train when he first confronted me saying, well, he said that, hey, move over, let me talk to my sis. He said he was like, move over, little boy, let me talk to my sister. And my reaction was, I want to show her that I'm not flustered, or I won't let anybody make me feel uncomfortable, so I just moved over.
So you never said a word. Did you ever tell Ms. Cox what he's saying isn't true? Or Ms. Cox, did you ever say, hey, is what my brother's saying true?
I didn't believe him.
All right, so both of you all just blew it off.
Coming up,
I asked him a couple questions. That's it.
Yeah, he asked me 2 questions, all right. He asked me the last time I had sex in my longest relationship. Just crazy.
I mean, I think
On
those
the
are fair
first
questions.
date?
She hasn't even asked me yet.
Those are fair
I don't
questions,
care, as
Your
long as
Honor.
you're clean.
and later,
He's not on business meetings. He's going out on dates. So he's
So
also.
you're saying now he's taking advantage of your friend and she's working and paying all the bills after he made her quit her good job.
we're back with the case of Serena Cox, who brought her brother Bruce Cox to court for ruining her date.
So you get off the train and then what happens?
So we get off the train, and now I got my brother following us. So it's like, okay, here we go. He following us. Not, I guess he's gonna be a third wheel. I mean, I can't really do too
Your Honor,
much.
I just didn't follow them there. They're painting this whole picture like I'm stalking them, and I just interjected myself. That's not what happened at all.
Oh, were you
She
there?
asked
And
me
if
to
so,
go.
how?
Yes, Your Honor, I was there.
Coincidentally.
And how did you get there?
I went in the train. She asked me to pretty much go with her.
Did you ask your brother to go with you, Miss Cox?
Absolutely not.
Your
I did
Honor,
not.
She asked me to go with her because she figured if I would go, he would be intimidated and he would leave. And that way, she didn't want to have to waste her time.
He was thinking all of that in his head. That whole conversation was all in his head.
So you decided to go to dinner. Did he sit at the table with you?
He did. He sat at the table,
Your Honor,
made
why
my
would I
date sit
come from
across
work?
from me.
Why would I come from work to then go on a date with my sister and Mr. Melrose?
That's what we want to know.
Right.
Because you were there.
She asked me to be there, Your Honor.
All right, and so you then took it upon yourself to scare him away to the point where he goes to the restroom and never comes back.
I wasn't scared.
All I asked him was a couple of
embarrassing.
questions, Your Honor. I asked him a couple questions. That's it.
Yeah, he asked me 2 questions, all right. He asked me the last time I had sex in my longest relationship. Just crazy.
I mean, I think
On
those
the
are fair
first
questions.
date?
She hasn't even asked me yet.
Those are fair questions,
care,
Your
as long as
Honor.
you're clean.
Those are
All
fair
right,
questions.
so you on everybody's nerves, Mr. Cox. How does this end? He leaves, and then what happens between you and your brother?
Now I'm having a date with my brother, and I love my brother to death.
He left because he didn't have any money to pay for the date. You
I
see,
already paid for it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I already paid for it.
Why
So
couldn't
wait,
you, why
hold
couldn't
on now. You're at dinner. You're suing for $1,297. That's an expensive date. Do you have any
Exactly, Your
evidence as to
I
what
do.
you paid for?
I do.
I mean,
It wasn't
that's an
just a-
expensive
it wasn't
first
just a
date.
dinner, Your Honor.
your evidence here.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
It wasn't just a dinner. It was Jill Scott tickets. It was a dinner. And if things went as planned, let's just say I had a little surprise at the Sweet Hotel downtown North Philly.
Hotel? What you
Oh!
mean hotel?
Yeah, the hotel.
You
yeah,
had-
the hotel. I'm grown.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Ain't no
you had
hotel.
trifecta going. You was ready.
Oh, no.
See, that's
No,
what-
she
Yeah.
wasn't, Your Honor. She was
Yes,
not ready.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
No, you wasn't ready. That's the problem. That's what we know is you not ready.
She grown.
So you got the concert tickets, $250 each. Dinner was $388. $500 for concert tickets and $409 for this hotel. Now, did this hotel that you got, did you get it where you could cancel it if you cancel before a certain time, or did you get it so that you paid for it in advance and got the better rate? Because I know you can do that.
You only could cancel it within 24 hours. So, yeah.
It was gonna be
So
canceled
It was
anyway.
too late. No, it
was
wasn't.
gonna be canceled
You didn't even
anyway.
know about
All right.
it.
It was gonna
you
be
mad?
canceled.
You mad?
Did you take your brother to see Jill Scott?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
So you and your brother went to see Jill Scott,
Yes.
and you just lost the money on the hotel.
Yes, everything was already paid for. It's not like I can just, cancel the tickets. It was last minute.
Well, since Mr. Mailroom / Mac Daddy left, I mean, I had to eat. She had to eat. I thought we were having a great time.
Oh, you the one who ate
All
most
right.
of the food.
I don't get it.
Mr. Cox, it is obvious from the smirk on your face and just from the way that you want to throw little digs at Mr. Wilkins that you just didn't want your baby sister to go out on a date with someone that you had heard bad things about, but they were just rumors. You had no idea. For all intents and purposes, Mr. Wilkins was ready, willing, and prepared to at least go to dinner and go to the concert, maybe even the hotel. But your brother interfered with that. So, Ms. Cox, I am going to award you the money for dinner because your brother sat up there and ate, and you agreed to take your co-worker to dinner. That's $388, and I'm going to award you the $250 because he went to see Jill Scott with you and should have paid for his own ticket because your date could not go. I'm not going to award you your ticket price because you actually did go to the concert.
He's scared off my date, Your Honor.
I know he's scared off your date. Now, if you had gone
You're just
home and
scary
lost
looking.
out on the concert, I might have awarded you the entire $500, but you went to the concert. And I've seen Jill Scott before, honey. She puts on a great show. So you enjoyed yourself, even with your date gone. Now, as for the hotel, you only pay for a hotel up front when you know you're showing up. In this instance, there was no guarantee that Mr. Wilkins was really going to go to the hotel or that the date was going to go well enough that you even wanted to go to that hotel. So I'm not going to award you the money for the hotel. Judgment for the plaintiff for $638. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $638.
All right, you can go ahead and have your little mailroom man. You know, that's fine. You know.
That's okay.
But he
600
should be
is just
man
enough
enough.
for another suite.
He should be man enough to pay for the date and whatever you guys decide to do.
That's
I'm
fine.
paying for the next 10 days, so don't even worry about it.
All right,
You
it's
don't
gonna be
have to worry
expensive. You
about
want
it.
to get your new job there, mailroom.
Coming up,
So it came to a point where she believed she was pregnant, and she came to him with this news, and he accused her of infidelity when he is the one committing infidelity.
Christy Petra claims she bought a plane ticket to help her friend leave her predatory boyfriend, but she never did. Helena West says her friend's gesture was a gift, so she could decide whether or not she wanted to use it.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Petra versus West. Miss Petra, you are suing Miss West for $1,398 for the cost of a plane ticket. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Ms. West, you say that ticket was a gift.
Correct.
All right, I'll start with you, Miss Petra. What happened?
She met this guy named Liam. Liam, in a word, is literally the worst. He's a predatory older man. He's more than 20 years older than Helena, Your Honor. He convinced her to leave her stable, good job that would lead to help promote her dreams in the music field to join a music marketing company that he created.
All right, Ms. West, you were dating an older man. Did you quit your job?
Yeah, I quit my job to help Liam. We were gonna start a music marketing business together, and he told me that I just needed to help him, and we were gonna be really successful.
They went under. They lost all their money, and they were living together as a couple at
Was
that
it a
time.
made-up company or was it just an unsuccessful company?
An unsuccessful company.
So it didn't work.
It didn't work, but Liam is out networking currently in Miami, and you know, he's finding the connections, and we're gonna make it work.
This is the problem, Your Honor. They don't have any money, yet he's out on a yacht in Miami. Like, he's clearly taking advantage. While he's gone, he's forcing her to work all the time, multiple extraneous hours to try to pay for both of them. In Miami, he's not on business meetings. He's going out on dates. So he's
So
also...
you're saying now he's taking advantage of your friend and she's working and paying all the bills after he made her quit her good job.
Exactly.
Coming up,
Why did you leave that part out?
I went to visit his family, and they weren't very accepting.
we're back with a dispute between Christy Petra and her friend Helena West over the cost of a plane ticket.
So it came to a point where she believed she was pregnant, and she came to him with this news, and he accused her of infidelity when he is the one committing infidelity. She needs to get out of that situation. Yes, so it's the holidays. I'm in a different place. She's alone. I say, here, if you make me a promise, you will leave him. I will buy you this ticket last minute so you can go to Pennsylvania and be with your family for the holidays. We'll get you back on your feet, find you a job, and start your life fresh.
When she offers you the plane ticket but says, now, if you take this plane ticket, you got to leave this man alone, you said okay?
Well, I don't really remember because it was such a blur. I was really emotional. I was crying. I was a wreck. And
Now, why were you emotional and crying and a wreck?
well, I had just told Liam that I thought I was pregnant with his baby, and that's when he accused me of going out and seeing other guys. And
So he said he didn't think it was his.
yeah, he said.
All right. So for you, Miss Petra, that was the last straw.
Absolutely. She was crying. She was desperate, heartbroken. I couldn't stand it.
Can you please hand me any evidence you may have.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any evidence to present to the court, Ms. West?
No.
Nothing. Okay. So this is the plane ticket for $1,398 going to Philly Airport. So you all had an exchange. I see you presented here, Ms. Petra. Ms. West, you said you didn't know what to do, that Liam basically kicked you out of his family home. Why did you leave that part out?
Well, that was back over the other weekend when I went to visit his family and they weren't very accepting of me.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People return.
So then Ms. Petra says, all right, I'll get you out of there. I can get you a flight home now, but you have to promise you won't go back to that loser. Please, yes, you tell her, yes, I will do that. I'll promise that. Send your flight information and I'll do it. And then she booked the flight. All right, so gifts are usually not revocable. Conditional gifts are something else. It's obvious from this writing that you agreed, hey, if you buy me this ticket to go back home, I am going to leave this man alone. It's plain as day. You did not fulfill your end of that bargain because you're back with him, right? Yes, you owe your girlfriend $1,398 for the plane ticket. Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,398. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,398.
See, Helena, I told you, stand up for yourself. I love you. I care for you.
Why do you always act like I owe you something?
You know he's toxic. You know it. Believe in yourself.
Christopher Perez claims he got stuck with no place to live after his fiancée broke up with him right before they were supposed to move in together. Donna Walker says she discovered Mr. Perez was cheating, so he has no one to blame but himself.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you. Good day, everyone. This is the case of Perez versus Walker. Mr. Perez, you are suing Ms. Walker for $2,324. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
You say that she failed to pay you money that she owes you.
That's correct, Your
Why does she owe you money?
Because she uprooted my life and left me out in the cold with nowhere to go.
Uprooted your life?
Yeah.
That's a strong statement. Take me back to what happened.
So we met at a bar, Taco Tuesday. I bought her margaritas and, tacos all night. We ended up at my place. It was a great night.
Wait a minute. We went from tacos to in the bed? Wait. That was quick. You ended up at your place after a Taco Tuesday.
Yes, she ended up at my place, Your Honor.
Okay, so she ended up at your place. So you met, you had drinks, it was a fun night. Is that right, Ms. Walker?
Kinda.
Okay.
So I did meet him at a bar for Taco Tuesday. We hit it off and we spoke all.
So it was a first date at the Taco Tuesday?
Somewhat, yeah. That was the first time we met.
All right. So first date, tacos, drinks, great time. You end up going back to his place?
Yes.
All right. And so then at his place, you all were intimate?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Now proceed.
So we began dating. Within 3 months, I actually proposed. We were completely in love, and I proposed. A couple months after that, we're apartment hunting for a 2-bedroom because we're thinking about maybe starting a family down the line. And so I give my 30-day notice to my current apartment, and they know that I'm leaving, so they already rented it out to someone else. Then with 2 weeks before my move-out date, she dumps me. She breaks off the engagement, and I have nowhere to go.
You dumped him, Ms. Walker?
I go to his apartment to help him clean out the rest of his drawers. I come across big red panties that clearly I cannot fit in his drawer.
Big red panties?
That I cannot fit.
They weren't
correct,
yours?
Were not mine, correct, as well as feminine hygiene products that I also cannot use.
So wait a minute now, Mr. Perez, did you have some big red panties laying around your house?
My cousin stayed at my place for 2 weeks, and she just happened to leave behind a pair of panties and some of her feminine hygiene products.
Your
It was an
cousin left
accident.
her panties.
That I
Yes.
never heard of.
I ain't never heard of that myself. Sean, have you ever had your cousin spend the night and they leave their panties?
Nope.
Who in the gallery's cousin has ever left some panties at their house?
Exactly.
Your Honor,
Mr. Perez, okay, because, all right. So you want us to believe that your cousin slept at your house and left some red panties.
At the time, I was spending most of my time at her parents' house with her. So my little cousin, who's essentially a sister to me, even more than a cousin, she's always had a tough time of it. So I help her out when I can. She let me know, hey, I need a place to stay for a couple weeks. I said, well, I'm staying at my girlfriend, my fiance's house with her parents for most of this time. So you can use my place. I gave her a drawer. I let her
And
use
she just
my
left
apartment.
one pair of red panties and some feminine hygiene products.
Well, she took more than that, but she just left it behind.
Did you see it before, Ms. Walker, as you were packing up and getting organized to move? Did you see the panties?
I did brush by them.
And
I
you didn't think to tell your cousin, hey, you left stuff over here?
She does it all the time. Whenever I called her before, she just, oh, throw them out. I'll get some others.
Okay, so wait, she told you to throw them out?
No.
Well, actually, listen, the point is this. You saw the panties. You knew they weren't your girlfriend's. Why didn't you think to put them in a bag or throw them out yourself or just put them away or take them over your cousin's?
It was a very, very busy time at work. There's going through a transition, and we were apartment hunting. Every day I was either at work or apartment hunting with my fiance. I forgot about it. It just got left behind.
So you forgot about it. So question, if you've been so good to this cousin over the years, why is it this cousin isn't here to testify on your behalf about the whereabouts of their panties? Where's the cousin?
She's out of country right now for her work.
Coming up,
I'm like Santa Claus when it comes to finding a clue. I must check the list and check it twice. I'm going to find out if you're naughty or nice. I should have known he was cheating far before I even came across these panties, Your Honor.
and later,
I have known Jessica for years, and I've never seen her wear a luxury item. I'm sure she's been gifted them, but she's never been wearing
this is
them.
completely wrong. She texted me to call me to borrow those handbags over and over.
we're back with the case of Christopher Perez, who brought his ex-fiancée Donna Walker to court over moving expenses after she dumped him.
All right, so Ms. Walker, I want to go to you because I want to understand this. So you're in there, you're supposedly helping your boyfriend pack up his place. You're not snooping, or are you snooping?
I'm not snooping at
Because
this
you're
point.
really thinking you're about to move into another place together. I'm going to help him pack.
Yes.
You see these red panties and these products. What do you say?
So first, when I come across the panties, I screamed his name. I said, Chris, get in here. He comes into his bedroom and we start to talk, and I asked him exactly. I said, who red panties are these? Because they're not mine.
That's not true, Your Honor.
He says, oh, they're my cousin's Tracy. Who is Tracy is what I want to understand, because I'm his fiance and we've been together. We're at this point in our relationship, right? He has met my family. I've allowed him to come into my family's home, my parents' home, but he couldn't introduce me to his family, whom is living in his apartment. So at this point, I feel like he's giving me an excuse that does not make sense. At this point, it's a lie.
All right, so you were within the confines of the relationship when your cousin stayed, and you never mentioned it to Ms. Walker.
That's correct, Your Honor.
You know this don't sound right. Okay, so Ms. Walker, you see the panties. Chris, get in here. Then what happens?
So at this point, Your Honor, I'm fed up. One thing for sure, two things for certain. I'm like Santa Claus when it comes to finding a clue. I must check the list and check it twice. I'm going to find out if you're naughty or nice. I should have known he was cheating far before I even came across these panties, Your Honor. Not only did he take phone calls in the bathroom, or he would go outside sometimes, but then when I asked him, I pressured him about, random women leaving heart eyes underneath his post, he would just, make excuses. When I confronted him, he'll say, oh no, those are just my female friends. They're just like that. And so, I honestly really did love this man. And so even still, I wrote it out, I loved him, and we were in the process of building a family. And so at the time—
A family? Y'all had just had tacos 90 days ago.
The chemistry was unbelievable. I'm telling you, it was one of those things where I felt like it was love at first sight. He was so sweet,
It was
kind.
lust at first sight. That's why you ended up at his house and in the bed after these tacos, because it couldn't be building a family. And listen, I will say this. I have known people who met and never left each other's side after they met, stayed together. I know that that happens, but you're also saying you saw consistent red flags that you chose to ignore. All right, so that's a problem. I want to get to the issue involving this money that you say she owes you. So you're going to move out. You say you tell your apartment complex, I'm leaving. Give them 30 days. They're gone. And then all of a sudden, the red panty gate happens.
Yes, Your Honor.
And now they've already rented your place out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why do you say she owes you money?
Because I would still be in that apartment if we weren't apartment hunting. She insisted that we move fast, that we get our own place, a 2-bedroom place. I wanted to take my time, find the right place, but she and her parents were just constantly pressuring me to, move forward, get a place together, get married. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to please her. I'm trying to please her family. And by the way, these calls that I'm taking outside or in the bathroom, it's due to my work. I work in human resources, so I deal with sensitive information, personal information about people. I'm not supposed to be talking about this kinds of stuff or listening to this kind of information with someone else in earshot. That's why I go out and have privacy when I take these work calls.
Okay, so let's get to the money. Do you have any evidence of the damages you've incurred because of this decision by Ms. Walker to not move into the next place?
Yes, Your Honor. I have 2 invoices here.
Let me see them, please.
I'll take all of those.
Tell me what these invoices say, Mr. Perez.
One is the receipt from the security deposit for a new 1-bedroom apartment.
All right.
Which
Whose
I have
name's
found.
on the lease of the new place?
Mine.
Just yours?
Yes.
All right. So that means she didn't have any responsibility for the new place.
But it's completely due to her that I'm moving in the first place.
Is it due to her or is it due to the red panties?
Well, they were my cousin Tracy's panties. If
Which
she would have just
never
calmed
met,
down.
never heard from. So anyway, so you've got how much for that? I see $434 for the moving services.
Yes,
it costs you that much to move.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then $1,900 for the security deposit for the new place.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's in your name.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
still only your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. It's the judgment of this court. Mr. Perez, you got caught up in a situation that you could have handled better. And sometimes our biggest lessons in life cost us. And when they cost us, we learn the lessons. Lessons can be very expensive. This instance, this lesson for you cost you $2,324. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Next time, I would certainly have told her about my cousin staying. That would have cleared everything up.
I feel like justice was served. Him, those nasty panties, and feminine hygiene products can kiss my behind where the sun doesn't shine. I am done with this relationship and I'm moving on. Case closed.
Coming up.
I texted her that my boyfriend was moving in, which is why I needed this space. And after that, she was like, okay, give me a week, I'll figure out my schedule. Well, 2 more weeks passed, she didn't say anything.
Jessica Liu claims her friend donated her stored belongings before she could get the luxury items back. Lily Matthews says it wouldn't have happened if Ms. Liu had picked up her stuff on time. Ms. Matthews is countersuing for $450.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Liu versus Matthews. Ms. Liu, you are suing Ms. Matthews for $1,500 for the loss of personal belongings. And Ms. Matthews, you are countersuing Ms. Liu for $450 for storage fees. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll start with you, plaintiff.
I'm here to sue my ex-best friend here because I stored a couple of boxes over her place thinking I could trust her, but she donated one of my bags full of expensive luxury items to the charity, and now I could not get my items back, so I just want my money back.
Why did you need to store the items over there?
Because I just got a new job, and I need to move to an apartment that is much more closer to my company, and the apartment, my new apartment, is much smaller than the old one, so I need the extra room to store all my stuff.
How long was the stuff there?
So we agreed upon 2 months. However, she went past the 2 months, and I had
Did you agree on 2 months, Ms. Lou?
That was the original plan, and she said it is okay for me to put the stuff over there for a couple of more weeks, and I was texting her. I actually have proof over here.
I'd like to see it. So we're at two months and 2 weeks. You gave her a couple more weeks, Miss Matthews?
Yeah, I gave her a few more weeks because we're friends. I wasn't in a rush to get it out of my apartment.
2 or few, 2 different things.
Sorry?
2 more weeks or a few more weeks?
A few
That's
more
two
weeks.
different things.
Yeah, a few more weeks. It
so
continued.
you say a few more weeks you gave her.
We discussed 2 months. I texted her that my boyfriend was moving in, which is why I needed this space. And after that, she was like, okay, give me a week. I'll figure out my schedule. Well, 2 more weeks passed. She didn't say anything. I reached out to her. I have the evidence.
I'd like to see that,
total
please.
of 3 or 4 times.
Coming up.
She said she had put all my stuff aside on the aisle, but I only saw 3 boxes.
I told her that I had donated it to the charity by mistake, which I of course felt horrible about, so I offered to pay her $400 for the box.
Back with the dispute between Jessica Liu and Lily Matthews over luxury items that were donated to charity.
Did you know what was in the boxes?
At the time, I did not. She told me they were luxury items. That's all I knew.
I see the text where you say, it's been over 2 months now. I really need you to get this stuff out. You say, Ms. Liu, I can't come this week because you have a huge launch. And then you say, all right, no problem. Just come by sometime the following week when you come back. What happened, Ms. Liu? You showed up to get your boxes, and what happens?
She said she had put all my stuff aside on the aisle, but I only saw 3 boxes. And then I dug all her closet storage room, her garage, and there was no 4th box.
I told her that I had donated it to the charity by mistake, which I of course felt horrible about. So I offered to pay her $400 for the box because I didn't know what was in it. I also had no idea someone was keeping luxury items at my house. I have known Jessica for years, and I've never seen her wear a luxury item. I'm sure she's been gifted them, but she's never been wearing them.
This is completely wrong. She texted me to call me to borrow those handbags over and over.
Regardless, she didn't
that.
accept the $400 I offered her. She didn't accept it. The box was still missing. She said that it wasn't enough for all the items, which again, I didn't know what items she was keeping at my house.
Ms. Matthews, you say you're countersuing for $450 in storage fees.
That is correct.
Why, after you tell her that you'll keep the stuff, she doesn't owe you any money, and she can keep it for 2 more weeks. Matter of fact, you can just come the week when you come back, and then she does come the week when she comes back. Why does she owe you storage fees now?
I let her do this for free, and what does she do? She takes me to court. I just want the money that she would have been charged in the first place if she had gone to a storage unit.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
When you do a favor for someone, there needs to be clear, concise parameters set, and it's almost better to demand that they honor those parameters than to let something string on and on and on. I'm gonna be very honest with you, Ms. Liu. You didn't care nothing about that stuff in your friend's garage. If you really valued them, you would find a place in your apartment for those things. On the other hand, Ms. Matthews, you agreed to it. So I don't know why you think you can charge storage fees for something that you agreed to. Neither one of you have a case or a leg to stand on. The plaintiff's claim is dismissed. The defendant's counterclaim is dismissed. I don't know if this friendship is dismissed, but you all need to grow up and learn how to be responsible for your things and how to communicate better so this does not happen again. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled. Both cases are dismissed.
I'm just glad this friendship's done.
I guess friendship is overrated after all.
Ryan Murray claims he went to his barber to look his best for a potential ad campaign. But a botched haircut cost him the job. Chase Weathers says Mr. Murray wouldn't stop moving, so he only has himself to blame.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated. This is the case of Murray versus Weathers. Mr. Murray, you are suing Mr. Weathers for $2,750. You say that he was negligent with respect to barber services. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and the defendant, Mr. Weathers, you say you did the best you could with the services under the time constraints. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell us what happened, Mr. Murray.
So I received a phone call from my agent at the time, and they told me that I had a opportunity to be a part of a new hair care product service, and they casted me for it. But I needed to take a picture and attach it to the contract in order to send it back, in order to be casted. At the time, I needed to get a haircut. I called Mr. Weathers because he's been my barber, and I trusted him for the past 9 years.
Okay.
And I told him that I needed to get a rush cut because I needed to have this picture in by the deadline, which was 5 p.m. I get to his barbershop at 1:45 because I'm always on time. I wait until 2 p.m. He had someone else in the chair at the time, which is understandable because that's just how the barbershop works.
You called last minute.
I did.
Okay.
I did. And so he had someone else in the chair. After he was done with that person in the chair, another guy came and got in the chair before me. This is now 3 p.m.
All right.
So now I'm kind of concerned. I'm asking him, hey, what's going on? You know, Chase, you know I got a deadline. Why aren't you cutting my hair? He proceeds to explain that he has express services and that they're paying more money than I am.
Oh, is that a new thing? So, okay, so you can pay your beauty and barber professional extra money and what, go in front of other people, or how does that work? You tell me, Mr. Weathers.
Yes, Your Honor. So with the express cut, say, for example, you were in the seat getting your hair cut. You just got into the seat. Somebody comes along and say, hey, I have $100 for your express cut. You would have to get out the seat. That person would get into the seat and get their full cut and happen to leave.
Even if I had an appointment?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
I don't
Your
get
Honor.
nothing of the express cut money?
You don't get any of the express money. Any of it. I own my own barbershop. I have my own rules. I'm well known around Detroit, Michigan.
King Weathers. King Weathers said I have my own rules.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
are your rules?
Yes, so one of my rules are express cut. So like I said, once you come in and you want to pay $100 for express cut, you'll be next. The cut happens to happen at 4:30, 4:45. So when that happened, I'm cutting his line. A lot of things are happening behind me, far as the sprayer that you put for your hairline is unplugged. I'm plugging it back in.
He was distracted, Your Honor. He was distracted. He was on the phone with his girlfriend. He watching the TV. He talking to other customers. He eating chips in the back of my head. I felt chips on my head, Your Honor.
You had chips on your head?
I felt chips on my head.
Yeah.
Cool
What
Ranch
kind of
Dorito.
chip?
Cool
Are they
Ranch.
salt and vinegar? That's my favorite.
It was the Cool Ranch.
If I may, Your Honor.
Listen. So you say he was busy back there. He wasn't busy doing a good job on your hair.
Not at all.
But with the relationship that you had with Mr. Weathers, Mr. Murray, why didn't you just say, hey, man, this is really important to me? Like, come on.
I did. I kept asking. I say, hey, what's going on? He's, hey, man, this is my shop. Like you say, he has his own rules. So he's talking to everybody. He's more concerned with being the center of attention than cutting my hair.
I'm not more concerned to be the center of attention. I do well at what I do. He decided to take my cuts for 9 years. This has never happened, Your Honor.
Are you eating the chips and talking on the phone, Mr. Weathers?
Yes,
he
Your
said
Honor.
yes, he is.
Yes,
he
Your
is
Honor.
eating the chips.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you haven't had any time to eat because you got express cuts and a full schedule.
Yes, Your Honor.
Coming up.
When you get done with the haircut, what was wrong with it?
Your Honor, I came to get an edge up, and he gave me a jagged edge.
Oh.
Yeah.
And later.
I showed her 3 or 4 different pictures.
Were you all in a relationship? It was your yard?
It was a polyamorous relationship. I was living in their house.
We're back with the case of Ryan Murray, who brought Chase Weathers to court over a botched haircut and a lost job.
So you're eating your chips, you plugging in your stuff, you got to multitask, express cuts, you own the shop, you got rules. It's a lot going on, Mr. Weathers. When you get done with the haircut, what was wrong with it?
Your Honor, I came to get an edge up, and he gave me a jagged edge.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait, it was a little jack-o'-lantern?
It was floating to the left like Gumby. You remember Gumby?
Oh, yes.
It floated like that.
I know that. I love Gumby.
Are you going to tell the truth?
But listen, do you have a picture of that?
I have a picture right here,
Let me
Your
see
Honor. As you can see, it's slanted.
It is definitely slightly slanted. I can't stand that the line isn't straight. But I do understand that in a rush, eating chips and moving around, how this could happen. So when you spin around in the chair, do you immediately notice that your hairline is crooked?
Judge, I let out a scream. The whole barbershop heard it.
Okay, and so, Mr. Weathers, when you saw that the hairline is noticeably crooked, and this is not something that is, you know, I mean, this is something that happens sometimes, all right? What did you say?
Before the hairline was crooked, this man, Ryan, was all on his phone. And I told him while I'm lining him up with the blade, please get off your phone, Ryan. He said, no, I'm still talking. I'm still talking. So I said, okay. I'm lining his hair. Yeah, baby girl. Yeah, baby girl, what you doing? Yeah, I got this photo shoot next. Yeah, I'm still lining his hair.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Can you please be still? So while I was getting his hair, I'm cutting it, and it looks fine to me. But I kept telling him to stop moving.
So, I need to know, Mr. Murray.
Yes.
Were you or were you not on the phone while you were getting the front of your hair edged? Were you or were you not on the phone?
Your Honor, I was using my phone looking down. I did look down because my agent had contacted me and he was trying to get an update on when I was going to be sending this picture out.
Exactly. And so move on. So once it was crooked, did he try to fix it?
No, he didn't try to fix it. At the time, he told me that he had other customers waiting.
Oh, not another express cut.
Another express cut, Your Honor.
Did you let an express cut in, Mr. Weathers?
I didn't let an express cut get in. He stormed out after his loud ruckus. As soon as I turned him around, showed him the mirror, I'm not paying for anything.
Would you pay, Your Honor? Even Ray Charles could see that hairline is messed up.
What?
$2,000, Your Honor? $2,000?
No. Listen. I'm gonna be straight with you. You asked me a question. Usually, as the judge, I ask the questions, you give the answers. But you did ask me a question, and I will tell you, yes, I did pay. The times that my son's hairline was crooked, I did not pay for the whole haircut and lineup. I just simply gave the barber an opportunity to cure, meaning an opportunity to straighten it up. Now, after they did that, I may not have gone back to that same barber again, right? But I did give them the opportunity. Why didn't you give him the opportunity to straighten you up? I mean, I can see from the way your hairline is that you had an opportunity. I mean, it might have been just a hair high. The bottom line is you got frustrated and you didn't send in the picture because you weren't feeling your best, you weren't looking your best.
No, I sent the picture in. Your Honor. And they said that they would give me a call and said, don't call me, I'll call you. That's what they said.
Because of your hairline?
Because of my hairline.
That was that they sent back, don't call us, we'll call you.
Right.
Okay.
So I missed out on $2,700.
Okay, Mr. Murray, you feel like you missed out on the job because of the crooked hairline.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is what I feel. And you know, unfortunately, we've had fun laughing about something that at the time was not funny at all. But now, like I said, when things are, you move beyond things, you can kind of laugh and give light. So we can't take ourselves too seriously. The bottom line is, sir, I do not think, from what I saw, that even though your hairline was crooked, you were able to shoot a picture that would have been good enough, right? So that they could see who you are and what you could do. The picture you shot on your phone was not what they were going to use in the campaign. You had time for your hairline to grow in and get the job if you were going to get the job. What I saw and what you said to me was, they said to you, no, we'll call you. They weren't interested in using you.
Correct.
All right. And I know you didn't get the job, but at least you're able to mend a relationship. And you should have let him try to fix that so you felt your best when you sent in the picture. That's a lesson learned for both of you. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I know better than to come back to you as my partner.
Listen, don't get comfortable. You got too many emotions and that will happen. You emotional.
No, I'm not emotional. You were my brother.
Coming up.
Is it because you felt some jealousy towards the other woman?
I am not jealous about the other woman because we are in a polyamorous relationship. But the house is my house. I had bought that house before my marriage, so it's under my name. We agreed that he move in. We never agreed on somebody else moving.
John Williamson claims he paid for a gazebo at his former partner's home, but was never reimbursed. Alicia Ramirez James says the purchase was completely Mr. Williamson's idea, so she accepted his kind gesture.
This is the case of Williamson versus Ramirez James. Mr. Williamson, you are suing Ms. Ramirez James for $4,700.06 for the cost of home improvements. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Ramirez James, you say that you do not owe plaintiff anything because it was his idea.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, I'd like to start with you, Mr. Williamson. Please tell the court about these home improvements.
The home improvement was a gazebo that we built in the backyard. It was a prefab that was brought right in, fit right into the backyard. It was something that we agreed on. I showed her 3 or 4 different pictures.
Were you all in a relationship? It was your yard?
It was a polyamorous relationship. I was living in their house.
All right, and so who paid for the gazebo?
I did.
So how much did you pay for it?
$4,700.06.
All right, do you have a receipt for that?
I do.
May I see it, please?
I'll take all your evidence, sir.
And so, Ms. Ramirez James, do you dispute any of the plaintiff's testimony thus far?
Thus far, he's correct.
He's correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you do install this prefab gazebo. How does it happen that you go from building a gazebo and home improvements to moving out? What happened?
Well, as I said, we have a polyamorous relationship, and I was seeing somebody else.
Coming up.
I wanted her to move in with me at the house.
You were asked to go ahead and move in, and then you were trying to move another girl in.
Yes.
We're back with a dispute between John Williamson and his former polyamorous partner, Alicia Ramirez James, over the cost of a gazebo.
Ooh, y'all are busy.
Miss Ramirez knew who she was, and she had been to the house a few times, and her lease was coming up, and she traveled a lot, so in between times, I wanted her to move in with me at the house.
Oh, so you were asked to go ahead and move in, and then you were trying to move another girl in.
Yes, after 2 years, yes.
You weren't happy with that arrangement? You didn't agree to that? Your husband and you didn't want that?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
And why is that so unheard of? What, you seem like that was just too much for him to suggest or ask.
I am not jealous about the other woman because we are in a polyamorous relationship, so we are all allowed to have other partners, and that is totally agreed upon. But the house is my house. I had bought that house before my marriage, so it's under my name. We agreed that he move in. We never agreed on somebody else moving in.
All right, so Mr. Williamson, I'm not sure how you can invite or say you wanted another woman to move into a house where you aren't even on the mortgage and someone is basically having you live there.
I was paying rent, Your Honor.
Did you have a lease?
I did not.
Okay. Did you bring proof of your rent payments?
I did not.
Did he ask you, do you want me to build a gazebo? And you said yes?
You wanted to install that gazebo because you thought it was a great idea and that you would be happy to pay for it.
No, I did not say that. The conversation was organic. We discussed it. You said you would like to have that for entertaining out here.
Did
we
I
built a
ask
fire
you?
pit.
And did I ask you to pay for a gazebo?
You didn't ask me not to pay for
Did I tell you put a gazebo in my house?
I brought you all the 3 different unique designs of them, and you said, okay, I like this one,
But
and that's
I
the one
never
I got.
told you you have to put a gazebo in my house.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
I cannot find a circumstance where this court would demand that Ms. Ramirez James and her husband be responsible for the financial part of that gazebo. And listen, the reason why I'm struggling, to be very honest with you, is because it does really feel like they came up. Like they really got a benefit. But at the end of the day, you were paying $1,000 a month.
Yep.
You had no lease. At the drop of a dime, you could just decide you're moving out. That is no expectation. I mean, to be very honest with you, you didn't give any notice. You were able to just move out. You had benefits as well by not being the person on the mortgage, right?
Yes.
So both of you all had benefits in this, and you haven't presented any evidence to this court that would suggest that it was ever an agreement of all of you that you all were going to pay jointly for this gazebo.
And
so for this reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
It is what it is because it's fair.
It's not fair.
Of course you know it's fair.
No, it's not.
You gave it as a gift.
A ring's a gift.
How can
a
you
necklace
come here
is a
and
gift.
say it wasn't a
$4,700 gazebo is not a gift.
You couldn't give her any proof.
Jeffrey Lennox claims his ex-wife lied about having cosmetic surgery, so he was shocked when their child didn't look like either of them. Tanya Pointer says her ex-husband is superficial and called their baby ugly.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding. Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, please be seated. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Lennox versus Pointer. Mr. Lennox, you are suing Ms. Pointer for $9,800 for breach of contract. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Pointer, you say the plaintiff is being superficial and you did not breach any contract. Is that
Your
correct?
Honor.
All right, I'll start with you, Mr. Lennox. What happened?
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, what happened, I mean, I imagine back to when I was a child, and on the counter at my family home, I see photos of my family going down generations, and I saw little me there, and I imagined one day that I would have my own child to have a picture with on that counter. So fast forward, and I'm now looking for a wife, and you know, like every young man dreams, I'm sure, like a lot of people dream, they imagine who their wife is going or their husband is going to look like, and I was imagining somebody that was tall, ambitious, mentally fit and capable, honest and attractive. I feel that I have received certain opportunities and gained a lot through my looks, I have to say, and I wanted my child to be raised in a similar fashion. So I was, you know, looking for.
You taking 10 minutes to say you wanted to have a baby that you thought was pretty.
I wanted to have a child. Yeah, I wanted to have the life that I thought of. Yes, Your Honor.
And the life you thought of was a life of what? A child that looked like you?
Yeah, I mean, a child that looked like yes, Your Honor. But not, I mean, I found Tanya at the gym after a spin class, and whatever boxes I may have needed to check, she seemed to check all of them. I mean, look at her.
You met Mr. Lennox at the gym?
Yes, Your Honor.
You liked him, he liked you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You started a relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you or were you not forthcoming about your life, your family, your background, your past?
I was, as much as I felt like I needed to disclose. I did not disclose to him certain things about my past. I did let him know that my parents were killed in a plane crash, leaving my brother and I all alone.
You know how long it took me to figure that out, Your Honor? Like, we're talking months of our relationship before she would cry when I'd ask her.
Focused on my
and I eventually
features,
got her to tell me.
So I didn't really feel like there was an opportunity for me to share a heartfelt moment with him.
So wait, you all are in a relationship, but you didn't ever feel there was time for you to have a heartfelt moment with a man you're in a relationship with? That doesn't make sense.
Well,
Thank you.
the issue at hand is my cosmetic procedures, after my parents were killed in the plane crash, I underwent a ton of cosmetic procedures so that I would not have to be reminded of my mother and what had happened to her. So I did, this was all cosmetic surgeries. And I just wanted to be away with my past. And he felt like because I did not disclose that to him, that now our child is ugly. We just had a child, and he started calling my baby ugly.
That is not what
my baby's only 1 year old. He's handsome. And he says that because the child does not look like his family lineage,
that
my baby is ugly.
Your Honor, that's
well,
not...
Mr. Lennox, I don't understand how you could be upset with what a new baby looks like. Why are you upset about that?
It is not my child's looks that upset me.
So what is it?
It was seeing my child for the first time and how it felt I was looking at a complete stranger, didn't look like either parent. It put into motion in my head now what had been, I guess, percolating for a while, that this woman that I thought I knew was not telling me about her life, and my first thought was she must be cheating on me. This child doesn't look like me.
So the baby, you felt like the baby didn't look like you, and it didn't look like Miss Pointer, so you were like, I'm not the father.
Coming up.
I made it very clear, Your Honor.
So you said, I want to have a child with you, but just tell me, have you had any plastic surgery?
Your Honor, I didn't feel the need to ask. I mean, look at her. It's very well done. She looks amazing.
Well done. You acting
Now.
like somebody baked her in the oven.
And later.
We got escorted out of the...
Oh, because after the phone flew and all that
Yes.
happened, y'all got escorted out of the ballet.
We're back with the case of Jeffrey Lennox, who brought his ex-wife Tanya Pointer to court after he says she lied to him.
She knows my position on plastic surgery. I think it's disingenuous and it lacks integrity. I would not have married, let alone pay for an IVF fertilization treatment with someone who had an addiction to plastic surgery, like Tanya certainly does. And
Did you say that before you all decided to have a sexual relationship?
I made it very clear, Your Honor.
So you said, I want to have a child with you. I'm willing to pay for IVF, but just tell me, have you had any plastic surgery?
Your Honor, I didn't feel the need to ask. I mean, look at her. It's very well done. She looks amazing.
Well done. You acting
Now.
like somebody baked her in the oven.
With all the surgery she's gotten, which is, by the way, is worth way more than the $10,000, the $9,800 that I'm here seeking to recoup, it is as if, I mean, somebody really went to work on her. And of course, I don't know anything about that, nothing about that part of her life.
What does this mean? I'm not liking the way you're objectifying
Your
Miss
Honor,
Pointer.
and I apologize for that, but I offer into evidence a photo here that I found. And please tell me, Your Honor, if that looks like the same person to you.
Actually, she looks a little different, but the shape of her face, the shape of her eyes, her eyebrows,
and
her
Honor,
nose is different.
May I just say that I'm not ashamed of that photo. I did not get those cosmetic procedures because I thought that I was ugly. I got those cosmetic procedures because it was traumatizing looking in the mirror and being reminded of my mother's face. So it was very devastating for me to find out that he felt like our child was ugly. I did not get those procedures to become this different person. I got those procedures so that I wouldn't be reminded of what had happened in my past.
Then why'd you say that you're the new Tanya now and the old Tanya is dead and forget about her? I mean,
because the old Tanya died when her parents died.
But you didn't know the old Tanya anyway, right?
I didn't, and I still don't. I don't know the new one either. I had to pull teeth to get
But wait a
even
minute.
this.
So your testimony is you don't know her, but you also decided to pay for IVF treatments to have a baby with her, but you didn't know her. She wouldn't answer questions. She wouldn't tell you anything about her past. She wouldn't let you know about her family. But you know what? This is the girl I want to have a baby with through IVF.
She
Make it
assured
make
me.
sense, Mr. Lennox. I don't have all day.
She assured me that who she was loved me unconditionally, dearly, and that she was wholly honest with me and that there was no need for me to worry. Now I find out that that entire argument, that entire line, which she allowed me to believe, what I allowed myself to believe, that was a cover story to prevent me from understanding that she hacked at her body to upgrade herself. I mean, her brother apparently used it to try to start a new life. She upgrades her physical form or something.
Your Honor.
Hold on. Why are you being so melodramatic about plastic surgery.
It's the lies.
You say you're suing her for breach of contract. What's the contract? And it better say in this contract, I'm going to pay for this IVF as long as you are the natural, original version of yourself with no plastic surgery. I want to see that contract. Where is that?
Your Honor, it's a marriage contract. I feel like I have been used. The damage is plain.
She was beautiful before the surgery. She's beautiful after the surgery. What is the issue? I want to know what your damages are.
I was lied to, and I can't have that lack of trust in a relationship for the rest of my life.
Okay, so you want to get a divorce?
We have gotten a divorce, Your Honor.
Okay, so now you're divorced.
Yes,
so
we are.
now what's your issue? You got a divorce. You're not with the liar. You're not married to anybody that had plastic surgery anymore. What is your issue?
My issue is that we did not have a prenuptial engagement going, and I want some measure of honesty from you, Tanya. Some measure of honesty that you understand.
Honesty don't cost $9,800. I want to know, why are you up in here when I could be having my morning tea? Why are you suing?
Because I said I had an ugly baby.
There you go. Wasting my time. Is a picture of the baby in the evidence?
Yes, it is. There he is right there.
So you're angry because this baby doesn't look the way you envisioned in your mind. This is insanity. You should be ashamed of yourself for even coming in here with this nonsense.
Your Honor, if I may, I felt I've made it very clear. I had a dream when I was young, and it was to not have a disingenuous, lying, deceitful wife, and that is what I found that I've had.
No, what we found is that you are delusional.
Okay.
And guess what? If this is really what you wanted, you didn't have the agreement that reflected what your desires truly were. I don't know if this is because you all have broken up. I really don't know what this is about, but you've stood in this courtroom today and got on my last nerve. I don't have any more time for a judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I'm just so thankful that someone else can agree with me
Yeah,
and
it's a relief to get
understand.
away with more upgrades, huh? More money that's not
You're
yours
so
that you deserve.
superficial. You're still superficial.
Yeah,
Have you learned anything?
You and the judge got along way too well.
Coming up.
I was bored out of my mind and decided to text a few of my friends, and he got angry and grabbed it from me.
I was not angry.
He got angry because I wasn't enjoying it as much as him. When he grabbed it, it flew under the seat in front of us and cracked.
Minden Darcy claims her date made a scene at the ballet, then cracked her phone when he tried to grab it. Jonathan McHenry says Ms. Darcy was rudely texting, distracting everyone around them. Mr. McHenry is countersuing for $303.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Darcy versus McHenry. Ms. Darcy, you are suing Mr. McHenry for $224 over a cracked cell phone screen. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And defendant Mr. McHenry, you claim that the plaintiff caused this issue, and you're countersuing for $303 for the cost of the ballet tickets. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, let's start with you, Ms. Darcy. Tell the court what happened.
Your Honor, I'm here today because Jonathan cracked my phone screen because he was throwing a tantrum when I had my phone out at the ballet. I was bored out of my mind and decided to text a few of my friends, and he got angry and grabbed it from me.
I was not angry.
He got angry because I wasn't enjoying it as much as him, and when he grabbed it, it flew under the seat in front of us and cracked.
Mr. McHenry, I do want to hear from you as well. You had good intentions when you bought the ballet tickets. You thought it'd be something Ms. Darcy would enjoy.
Yes.
You enjoy the ballet?
Oh, quite a lot,
Was
Your
this
Honor.
your? Oh, okay. So this wasn't your first ballet.
No, I go and I see.
He goes with his mom.
The ballet well, I had to go with my mom because she wouldn't go with me.
All right. So for the 6-month anniversary, limo, ballet tickets. It sounds like a nice date to me. Good seats.
Yes, we had the best seats in the house.
That's the only seats to have.
Coming up.
I was so embarrassed.
Well, what made you think you gonna grab a grown woman's phone and...
We're back with a dispute between Minden Darcy and Jonathan McHenry. over a damaged cell phone and ballet tickets.
This young lady was doing a very beautiful pirouette, and then out of nowhere is this cell phone like blurring all of this light everywhere. And I wanted us to enjoy the evening and have a really good time, and I thought we were.
She admitted in court she was texting because she was bored.
Yes.
So then what did you say?
Well, I said, Minden, put down your phone. Like, you know, there's this, didn't you see the sign?
He didn't say it in the calm way that he's saying it now. Like, it was aggression, and it was like...
How aggressive? You're in the middle of the ballet. He didn't scream, did he?
Okay, it was a condescending tone, Your Honor, and it's like he has this issue when things don't go his way. He wants to talk to me like he's a parent and not a boyfriend, and I don't appreciate that.
I am
and it's
not
my phone.
your father. I'm not
and
a parent.
I feel like if we're in a setting where everyone is focused on the stage and I am bored, instead of falling asleep, which I could have done and I thought I was gonna do, I decided to just get in our group chat.
Well, I just, you know, she didn't turn her phone off.
How many times did you ask her?
I believe it was 3 times. I just took the phone and I tried to turn it off.
He snatched the phone,
politely.
Your Honor. He didn't take it. He
just
snatched the phone.
And she pulled back and it shot across the room. It flew underneath the seat of this other couple that was there. And
who were already annoyed because he was causing a scene. Everyone was looking at us like it was really embarrassing.
What made you think you gonna grab a grown woman's phone and take it? But I could see how that could be distracting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't agree with are your methods.
We got escorted out of the...
because after the phone flew and all that happened, y'all got escorted out of the ballet.
Yes.
Judge Lake's verdict, when we the people...
Unfortunately for you, Mr. McHenry, you do owe Miss Darcy for the damage you caused to her phone screen. That was your doing. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And because you chose the person you'd like to accompany to the ballet with you, you gifted her a ticket, and that is really all you're doing. You could have seen the entire ballet, and she would have just been on the phone, and you might have broken up with her after, but you would have seen the ballet you paid for. So unfortunately, your actions caused you to miss the ballet and not her. Now, you could have also been cold-blooded like her and just said, excuse me, I'm gonna go to the restroom, and gone to get the security, and you could have had them escort her out, and you could have stayed and enjoyed the ballet. Then you wouldn't be missing anything. A lot of other options. Unfortunately, you chose the wrong one. Judgment for the plaintiff for $224. The defendant's counterclaim is dismissed. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $224.
I'm going to take that money and I'm going to go to a concert
the
and
least you could
actually
do
have
is accept
fun
my apology.
for the first time in 6 months. I guess it doesn't do any harm. My phone's getting fixed, so I accept your apology.
Natasha Wallace claims a hairstylist misrepresented his all-inclusive microlink package, which ruined her hair. Daniel Morrison says it's not his fault that she didn't follow his aftercare instructions.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. This is the case of Wallace versus Morrison. Ms. Wallace, you are suing Mr. Morrison for $1,250 for damaging and ruining your hair. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
And Mr. Morrison, you say the real damage was caused by the plaintiff. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your
All right,
Honor.
what happened, Ms. Wallace?
Well, I came to the defendant to have my hair done. My 30th birthday was coming up, so I really wanted to look fly, look real nice. And I typically go to my normal salon, but she actually moved out of town. So my best friend has referred Daniel to me because she got her hair done before.
All right, so you know someone that got their hair done by Mr. Morrison.
Yes, and her hair looked amazing, so I expected the same results. So I reached out to Mr. Morrison, and we had a virtual consultation about whether or not my hair was healthy or not, and he said it was. We're good to go. The hair actually turned out great. I was really satisfied with how it looked. I looked fly. I was ready for my trip.
All right, do you have a picture of how you look?
I do have.
I'd like
a
to see
picture.
that,
Here you
please.
go.
Thank you.
All right, keep going.
So after I was ready to go for my trip, next week, it was a 5-day trip. My man, my now fiance, planned this a beautiful birthday extravaganza for me, 5 days in Antigua. I was prepared. I had my hair done. I was excited.
You liked your hair when you left.
I liked the hair when I left. But flash forward a week later, I'm washing my hair with the products that he recommended and I bought from his store. So
You're
I'm
shaking
doing my
your head,
job
Mr.
right.
Morrison?
I am, Your Honor. She could not have used it because if she did, it wouldn't have looked like it looked. It looked like a rat nest.
All right,
There's
so
no way.
after you used the products, but you do agree that she bought the products from your salon that day, per your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
I
right.
do agree.
Okay,
But
you do agree with that?
There's no way she could have used it and followed my steps. It would not have looked like that.
All right, so Ms. Wallace, you wash your hair.
I washed my hair. This is not my first rodeo. I know how to manage microlinks. I know how to wash my hair. It's not rocket science. I washed my hair. I'm scrubbing my hair. The second time, I'm putting more shampoo in it, and all of a sudden, I'm realizing, wait a minute, I can barely, put my hands through my hair. I can't even I don't know what's going on, but I'm thinking maybe I just need some conditioner or something. Let me just, put that conditioner in, and I'm moving it through, and my hand is literally getting stuck. I can't touch my scalp. I washed my hair off. I washed all the conditioner off. I look into the mirror, and there's a rat nest on my head, basically. It looks worse than Michael Jackson's Jerry curl.
So you submitted a picture to the court.
Yes, I did.
That's my work.
Mm-hmm.
That's my work right there.
And that's how you remember your hair looking?
Yep, that's how I remember it looking.
And then that is what happened after you washed your hair?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a rat nest. It's disgusting. I felt hideous.
When you saw her hair, what were you thinking?
She didn't follow my steps. She followed none of my steps that I told her.
What are the steps?
So the steps were very
Child's
simple.
play. Child's play.
You didn't do them, though.
I did do them. The problem is not
Hold
the
on,
hair
let
care.
me have Mr. Morrison tell me what the steps are. What are the steps?
Yes, Your Honor. So first, you need to detangle your hair. Once you have detangled it, you shampoo it, then put conditioner in it.
So you detangle your hair first?
Yes.
Because that, to me, is not something you hear often. Usually it's wash and then condition really well, and then detangle post-conditioner. Why is it that you have to detangle it first?
Because if you're out and you're doing stuff and you put your hair up, you're gonna need to lay it down once you get from what you're doing. You're gonna need to detangle it. So once you have detangled it, shampooed it, and conditioned it, you take a brush, a palette brush, or it can be a wide tooth comb to go through your hair. The reason why I would say a wide tooth comb is so it won't get stuck.
In the microlink?
Yes.
Coming up.
So what do you think she did to make her hair look like that after washing it one time?
It did not look like she detangled it because, it's a rat nest, so she didn't detangle anything.
And later.
So you looked up and saw he was a felon, and what did you do?
So I confronted him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a felon, by the way. He just didn't even bother to tell me this.
We're back with the case of Natasha Wallace, who blames Daniel Morrison for her damaged hair.
All right, so why is this so hard, and why do you think she got the result that she did?
To be honest, Your Honor, I don't think she did anything I told her to do.
What do you think she did from looking at this picture? You're the only professional in here. So what do you think she did to make her hair look like that after washing it one time?
It did not look like she detangled it because, it's a rat nest, so she didn't detangle anything. And I'm pretty sure she didn't use the shampoo and the conditioner that I provided for her.
Your Honor, I did. It had nothing to do with the shampoo. It had everything to do with the package of hair that was used. Let me tell you exactly why I went to Daniel, because he had an all-inclusive package. I asked him, can I bring my own hair? Because that's what I usually do. This is not my first time getting marketer links. But he said no, he uses his own vendor.
I do,
and
Your
this
Honor.
vendor
I've used them for 5 years.
clearly did
No
not have
problem.
any human hair, because my hair would not end up like that. And even when I was drying my hair, I'm smelling plastic burning. Human hair does not smell like plastic when it burns.
So did you ask him, is this human hair or is this synthetic hair?
It was supposed to be human hair.
Did you ask him when you smelled the plastic burning?
Well, after I smelled the plastic burning and everything, I did call him and have him see my hair. I asked him.
You mean you smelled that after you left?
Yes, this was after when I washed my hair. When I was washing my hair and trying to, at least dry it or something so I could do something with it.
So while you were getting your hair done, you never questioned whether or not it was human hair because you had asked for and requested human hair?
Yes, it's typically
How
always
much did you pay
hair.
Mr. Morrison?
I paid him a lot. I paid him $900 altogether, $100 for the deposit and $800 for the service.
So then what happened?
So after that, everything happened. I got back home, but of course, I tried to make it work. I put on a scarf for my head, and it still was not giving it what was supposed to be given. So I
Your
told
Honor, the
my
moment she called me and told
fiance,
me-
I'm sorry, I'm still speaking.
You've been talking for
Okay, hold on, one at a time. Finish up, Ms. Wallace, because I need Mr. Morrison to have an opportunity to respond to this. So what happens?
So I call him, FaceTime him so he can see my hair. He's like, yes, that's not how it's supposed to look. No, duh. So he says, when I get back in town, come to him. I do that. And I come to him. He says, yes, I will fix it for you, but you need to pay me $450. After you already messed up my hair, you want me to pay more money? I don't think so.
Why did you quote that amount to help her?
When I saw Miss Wallace, I obviously thought, okay, she did not follow anything I told her to do. And even then, I was willing to help her. But Judge Lake, nothing is free in this world.
What happened after that? Did you go to Mr. Morrison to fix your hair?
I went to him, and when he tried to scam me, like he's a crook, he already messed up my hair, and they was trying to charge me more money. I decided, no, I'm going to go to someone else. And I did. And my hair turned out nice, and it lasted for 3 to 4 months. So
did they detangle it and do the braids?
Yes, she detangled it, and unfortunately, it had to cut off my hair. 2 inches of my hair has been chopped off because it was so tangled.
Inside of the microlink?
Inside of the microlink.
What did this new stylist say was the issue with your hair?
She said it was definitely synthetic blend. It was not human hair. It was just not put in correctly. She just didn't know what was going on. So did she say, okay, because all day you've been testifying that it was installed correctly, it just maybe wasn't the right hair, and when you shampooed it is when it snatched back up? Yes, and that's not how human hair should react to shampoo.
All right, so what the next stylist said is that it wasn't human hair.
Yes.
Did you bring a statement or anything from that stylist to say?
No, I did not. But he agreed that it wasn't human hair.
So do you agree, Mr. Morrison, that it in fact was not human hair?
I never agreed to that, Your Honor. My vendors have always said it was human hair.
This doesn't look like human hair weave.
It's not.
It is a blend of human hair and synthetic hair, and you can see that's why it's snatched up like that. I can tell the way you're looking at the picture, you know it's not human hair. At the end of the day, I do not believe you got what you bargained for. I do not believe you gave him $900 to put a synthetic and human hair blend in your hair. I think your expectation underneath his deal was that you were going to get human hair. It is obvious from the evidence presented today that it was not 100% human hair. Therefore, as soon as you washed it, even though you followed the appropriate steps, the hair reacted the way synthetic hair does, all right? Then you went through the trouble of having to go get it taken down by somebody else. And this is one of these great instances, Mr. Morrison, in business where you learn that sometimes it's better to make the customer happy. At the end of the day, a business is only worth what people say about it. So you have to be very careful about customers who are unsatisfied and your work running around town not looking as best as it could. And again, I've watched you today. I've been studying you, and when you looked at that picture, I knew that you knew that that was not the quality of work that Ms. Wallace expected, nor that you contracted to do. It is for this reason, judgment for the plaintiff for $1,250. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,250.
Well, I'm not surprised that I won. If it looks like a scammer, if it walks like a scammer, it's a scammer. You're a crook.
Girl, you barely won.
Coming up.
Once she confronts you with this, what do you say?
Well, she confronted me by blasting it on social media, so she was a real child in that respect.
I didn't say anything that wasn't true.
Thomas Jones claims he was forced to leave town after his ex-girlfriend's social media posts ruined his life. Samantha Nile says she had to warn the neighbors about who he really was.
Good day, everyone. This is the case of Jones versus Nile. Mr. Jones, you are suing Ms. Nile for $5,000. Please tell the court why you're here.
Your Honor, I'm here to get money from Samantha because she ruined my life and my daughter's life.
How did she ruin your life?
Online social media bullying. She drummed us out of the community through lies, and there's nothing we can do to get the money back from the moving expenses, the lost security deposit, storage while I was looking for a new place.
So how?
It's her fault.
Tell me what happened. Why is she saying anything about you at all? What happened between you two?
Well, we met when we were at our daughters are the same age. We met at orientation for 8th grade. We started setting up play dates for our daughters, and then over the course of 2 months, we started dating and seeing each other. We were doing some family-like events together. Then my ex-wife was coming into town for 2 weeks as a surprise for my daughter's birthday, her 13th birthday. We were going to plan a party. And I told Samantha that she couldn't come over for those 2 weeks. And she totally acted like a child and blew up on the internet.
He told me while we were in bed together. I was curious, so I looked her up, and that's when I found out he had a felony. I was just
So you
confused.
looked up and saw he was a felon, and what did you do?
So I confronted him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a felon, by the way. Like, he just didn't even bother to tell me this. I could have done my research, sure, but who just
Okay,
thinks
but
they're
if it was in
sleeping
his
with a felon?
past,
Well, it was for a domestic dispute.
Okay, so it was for a domestic dispute.
Yes, Your Honor.
So there was domestic violence.
I don't know what was involved, but if you're a felon with a domestic dispute, something had to take place.
Coming up.
I just wanted to let the community know that there was a felon around town who also was...
Back with the case of Thomas Jones, who brought his ex-girlfriend, Samantha Nile, to court for ruining his life.
So, Mr. Jones, once she confronts you with this, what do you say?
Well, she confronted me by blasting it on social media, so she was a real child in that respect.
I didn't say anything that wasn't true, and it's a Facebook group for my community. I just wanted to let the community know that there was a felon around town who also was stealing because my Cartier ring went missing. I always take my ring off. I always put it on the nightstand, and he's even commented on it before. So I just put it on the nightstand. A few nights before, I left it there. I came back, and I asked him, where did it go? And he said, you left with it that day. And no, I didn't.
So, Mr. Jones, do you see this in the Facebook group?
Right before I was kicked out of the Facebook group, I saw this post where she was letting everybody know.
Let me see this post.
I'll take all of your evidence, actually.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I didn't say anything that wasn't true.
Thank you. So this is the post. You telling everybody you just need to be candid. I found out some disturbing information about Thomas Jones. He spent some time in jail. Be very careful of how our kids associate with him and his daughter. And then you write, my Cartier ring has gone missing. I brought it to his house, and now it's nowhere to be found. You also submitted to the court $1,913 receipt for moving expenses, and also it looks like a storage unit for $387.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People return.
After that happened, you felt like your daughter
Well, nobody
needed to
came to
leave?
my daughter's birthday party. Nobody would talk to my daughter at school. She was getting bad grades all of a sudden. Nobody would talk to me at my coffee shop. We were literally drummed out of the community. And that's when I realized I shouldn't have to pay for any of this because I'm not a thief. She has no proof that I took anything. In fact, my daughter is still friends with her daughter on social media, and there's a screenshot of a tweet of her daughter gloating about stealing the ring.
My daughter did not steal my ring.
So
her daughter is a thief. In fact,
this is a tweet from Madison Nile that says, my mom is such a B. I got the ring, that'll teach her.
She told me that she was mad at me one day, so she just tweeted something.
A defense to defamation is truth. You are a convicted felon. But then I hear your daughter taking a claim in actually taking the ring And it's for that reason I'm not going to have you collect the full $5,000. But I will say, because you posted that, understanding that there still was a question about how that happened to you, Ms. Nile makes you liable, judgment for the plaintiff, for $1,500. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,500.
I don't think it's entirely fair, but, you know, at least it's something.
I don't owe him anything.
She needs to be taken down several pegs in her community. It's out of control.
Lily Larson claims she agreed to be part of a documentary, but by the end, it was more like a reality show. Iris Lucy says Ms. Larson's behavior was always over the top and only has herself to blame for how she was portrayed.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated. Good day, everyone. This is the case of Larson versus Lucy. Ms. Larson, you are suing Ms. Lucy for $6,500 for defamation and underpayment.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Tell the court what happened.
I originally got into a contract with Miss Iris Lucy here on the pretenses that it would be shooting a water fasting documentary that would show all aspects of one's emotions. When the documentary came out, it alluded to me being a negative person in an evil light.
All right, so a water fasting documentary. How long were you supposed to fast?
30 days, Your Honor.
All right, so 30 days of fasting on water only?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, my goodness. And Ms. Lucy was the producer or the head of the production company?
Correct, Your Honor. She was the writer and the producer.
All right, and so the purpose of the documentary, Ms. Lucy, was to show what? Weight loss, clarity, mental clarity? What were you showing? What was the purpose of the documentary?
Well, water fasting has become sort of a health trend as of late, so I wanted to get on the ground floor with portraying all of the benefits that you can get from water fasting. Some of those are health benefits, some of those are fighting disease benefits, some of those are increased skin clarity benefits, and some of them are mental clarity benefits.
Okay, how many people were in this documentary?
12 in total.
All right. And they were supposed to be, what, in a house?
That's correct. My budget allowed for us to rent a house in Malibu, a beautiful house in Malibu to shoot.
Your Honor, may I interject here?
Yes, please.
That Malibu house was not luxury by far.
It wasn't?
No. We lived with the crew, Your Honor. And the entire time, her and her crew were taunting us. They had food in the refrigerator.
So you lived with the crew, well, presumably so they could capture you at all times of night, right? So what, there were cameras there and the house. But you're saying they were eating in front of you. You didn't send the crew to like a trailer or somewhere else to eat?
No, I didn't find that necessary, nor did we have the space. We had a limited budget. The house that I rented in Malibu is what we could afford. And part of the experiment, if you will, was to see how our participants responded.
So part of it was not just about what drinking water would do, but it was also kind of how do you resist the temptation to eat smelling food? You were doing that as another layer.
Behavioral reactions, yes, Your Honor.
Another layer of this documentary.
That's
how
correct.
they react.
To test their level of commitment. I mean, Miss Larson came to me as a struggling actress, and she clearly thought that she was going to be the star of my documentary. I provided her an opportunity to get some recognition, to accept this challenge. She wanted to lose some weight. She'd complained about having gained weight over the pandemic, so I provided her this opportunity. Now she wants to sue me because she doesn't like the way that she was represented in my documentary.
So I want to ask you this, Ms. Larson, and I'm going to give you a chance to continue your testimony. Why did you take on this project?
I took on this project because during the pandemic, like many people, but me personally, I gained 55 pounds. I was at 188 pounds. I contacted a friend. They connected me with Iris Lucy here. I knew that she was a well-known documentary writer and producer. I had the opportunity to be one of the 12 participants, and originally I was excited because it gave me an opportunity to clear my state of mind, to be in better health, but it was just not that.
So this wasn't about the acting for you?
No.
Do you want to be an actress?
Yes, Your Honor.
So this wasn't about acting?
This was about bringing a lens to something that's new, that water fasting for 30 days, and also giving me
I
clarity.
mean, you could just be honest if you wanted to be on camera, because there's a lot of other ways to get clarity, lose weight.
That's true, Your Honor.
And Your Honor,
But without being documented on camera.
Your Honor, but this was not a reality show, and when it was edited, it seemed just like that. This is a documentary. She showed bits and pieces of me and not the entirety of me. And if you're going to try to educate people on water fasting, wouldn't you do that, showing the good, the bad, and the ugly, Your Honor?
Coming up.
She showed not the happy, peaceful moments that I experienced in the beginning at the start of the first half of the 30 days. She showed me crying all day. She showed me bickering with the other participants, throwing barbecue grills in the water.
And later.
I was actually trying to give her, Cash App it, but because she went shopping and she wanted to be all cute for Miami, she was overdrawn.
We're back with a dispute between Lily Larson and documentarian Iris Lucy over defamation and underpayment.
Well, did you show the good and bad and the ugly, Miss Lucy?
Yes, I believe I did.
So let me ask you this, Miss Larson, before I head over there. I want to know from you, Miss Larson, what is it about the way you were portrayed that bothers you so much? I mean, let me just think about not eating anything for 30 days. I might cut a rug. You know what I'm saying, Sean? I mean, you might get some real ugly moments when I'm hungry, hangry. I mean, that's a tough fast. So what is it that you don't like?
She showed not the happy, peaceful moments that I experienced in the beginning at the start of the first half of the 30 days. She showed me crying all day. She showed me bickering with the other participants, throwing barbecue grills in the water, because her crew was taunting me. And I expressed my concerns to Miss Lucy here, but she did not address them.
Oh, so you turned all the way up?
Yes.
Okay, so all right. So Miss Lucy, I want to understand from you, you are a documentary producer.
Correct.
You've told the court what it is your desire was to show. Why is it you did not capture a holistic view of Miss Larson, or do you feel like you did?
I feel like I did. And I will say, Your Honor, since day one, Miss Larson, as soon as the camera was turned on, she was dramatic. She was already picking fights with the other participants. The first day, she would have crying spells. It was clear she wanted to be in front of the camera. So it wasn't that I just happened to film her bad moments. They were all pretty bad moments to begin with.
And you have people in there eating food every day?
Yes, as they were explained, as the participants were explained from the get-go. Of course the crew was going to eat. Of course I was going to eat.
But you didn't have to eat in their faces.
It was a small space, Your Honor.
In Malibu, Your Honor. This is the mansion that she described earlier.
If you're in Malibu, there's a lot of places to take your food.
Well, for that matter, she
Outside,
could have
by
taken
the
her
beach.
food. She could have taken her food if she was so
She didn't have
tempted.
any food.
Well, I'm sorry, that's correct. She could have taken herself away from the food.
How can I?
If it bothered you. Instead, she chose to push the grill, which was cooking meat at the time, into the pool.
All right, so
talk to your crew.
Let me be clear. Why do you feel like she owes you more money? Because they were eating food in front of you? What is the basis of this claim? Why does she owe you $6,500 more?
She exhibited me in a light that was not betrothed of who I am today.
But she cannot edit any pieces of the video, and this is, and I'm glad you're here, because this is important to understand. In the world of documentaries and docuseries and reality TV and all of these things, it is clear that people cannot edit you in a light that you don't provide, right? If you don't provide them with the footage, the actions, they don't have anything to work with.
Your Honor, can I just say one more thing? Is because I was not the only participant that exuded negative actions in that mansion. There were other participants who were going crazy just as much as I was, Your Honor, and yet not one moment were they shown in any other light but happy, joyful, and enjoying the experience. It was just me, Your Honor, and if I'm quote-unquote the star of the show, then why am I not paid a star wage?
Oh. Okay, well, you can't. She popped on out, didn't she?
I think she did.
What's right is right.
So,
Your
wait,
Honor.
I thought you entered this for weight loss and clarity from the pandemic. You a star of the show now?
Well, Miss Lucy here told me I was the star of the show. I did it because it's a documentary and not a reality show.
Listen.
Then why did you act like a reality star, throwing grills in the pool and whatnot?
And why did your crew act wrong? Just wrong.
My crew acted like a crew.
Well, I'll say this. Ms. Larson, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your dream of being an actress.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can't tell me that you didn't see a camera rolling and turn it up a notch to make sure that you were getting a lot of attention on that camera. Because that's what people who want to be actresses do.
Yeah.
And you're not going to convince me that that was not at least part of your motivation for doing this.
It was probably 10% of 15, 20% of the motivation that I had to do
You
this.
are an actress, but a terrible mathematician. Because that was not 15 to 20% of your motivation. It was not. You got the attention. It wasn't what you wanted, but you were not defamed. And you are not owed another $6,500. With that said, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
You're a slithering snake, and I'll never work with you ever again.
Enjoy your 15 minutes of fame.
I gave you the 15 minutes of
It's
fame.
about halfway over,
Why do you
so
think
enjoy.
Why do you think your documentary's popular now? It's because of me.
Because of my filmmaking ability.
Your filmmaking ability is trash.
Coming up.
All right.
Right.
So then what happened?
So I told her, I said, okay, well, hey, how about your girlfriends? She's like, oh no, Mom, they're, at the beach. I need this reservation or whatever was going on at the time. So can you just send it to the boyfriend? And I had reservations about it.
Aaron and Patricia Banner claim they loaned their daughter money when her account was overdrawn, but she never paid them back. Jen Banner says she shouldn't have to pay back money she didn't get to use.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Banner versus Banner. Ms. Banner, you are suing your daughter for $1,500 for failure to repay a loan. Is that correct?
That is correct, ma'am.
And Ms. Banner, you say you never received the money.
That is correct.
All right, I want to start with you, Mom. You're suing your daughter today.
Right.
All right, tell the court why.
Well, it all started with her having a, birthday party. Turning 21 is a huge deal. So what ended up happening was it was her girlfriend, her boyfriend at the time. They flew over to Miami. She swore, Mom, don't worry, everything's taken care of. The dinner, the hotel, and things.
Where were you going, Miss Banner? Tell me about your trip for your 21st birthday.
We get to the Airbnb and we couldn't get it because we weren't 25. So me and my friends ended up getting a hotel. It was $1,000, so we ended up paying for that. Now dinner time comes and I asked my mom, because everything had happened, I asked my mom if she could lend me $1,500. I had overdrafted my account because of all the extra necessities I had to pay for.
So hold on now. You arrived there with what you think was enough money?
Yes, but because that Airbnb had flopped, I ended up having to come out the pocket.
Understood. So you call your mother?
Yes.
Tell me about that conversation.
I called my mother asking her if I can get an extra $1,500. She said, at the end, she did say yes.
So what do? Cash App or whatever that stuff is called?
And that's what happened. I was actually trying to give her, Cash App it. But because she went shopping and she wanted to be all cute for Miami, spending all her money, she was overdrawn.
Her bank account was overdrawn.
Exactly. So she wouldn't get the full amount if I had done that.
Got it. Oh, and even if you Cash Apped it and it deposited in her account, it would still be overdrawn and then she wouldn't have the money.
Coming up.
Why is it that you stand in court today and say you didn't get the money so you don't owe her anything?
Because I didn't get to.
We're back with the case of Aaron and Patricia Banner, who brought their daughter Jen Banner to court over money loaned for a birthday trip.
I told her, I said, okay, well, hey, how about your girlfriends? She's like, oh no, Mom, they're, at the beach. I need this reservation or whatever was going on at the time. So can you just send it to the boyfriend? And I had reservations about it. I asked her, She said send it to him?
Well, the only reason why she sent it to him is because his card was already on file. We ate at Poppy's Steakhouse, so that's what the reservation was under. It was under his name. His card,
all
it was
right.
under his
So
card.
so she sent the money to the boyfriend. You're at the restaurant, and you felt like, okay, he has it. We're all going to eat together anyway.
Yeah,
I'll get it from him. You are saying in your petition, in the court intro, that you never got the money. How is that?
I never got it. We got the bill, and the card declined. My boyfriend's card declined.
He didn't have enough funds in there to cover his expenses either.
Right.
And so once you realized that, he had to come clean because the card declined at the restaurant?
Yeah, and he ended up telling me that he went a little overboard shopping and bought all these shoes, so it was a mess. I was embarrassed.
Oh, and then by the time your mother's money came through, he was overdrawn.
Yes.
So you and your boyfriend don't have your money together. Now you got your mom sending money to him. His account is overdrawn. And so why is it then? I hope you all figured out how to get that bill paid.
Yes, I ended up texting my dad.
What?
I ended up texting my dad.
She called you dad?
Yes, she called me.
And then what happened?
He paid the bill.
He sent you more money?
Yes.
Judge Lake's verdict.
You did ask your mother for a loan, am I correct?
Yes.
And so she said yes, and she sent the money.
Yes.
Why is it that you stand in court today and say you didn't get the money, so you don't owe her anything?
Because I didn't get to use it.
Wow. Oh. Do you understand that that's not how loans work?
Yes.
And I think we're in court today because your mother is ready for you to hit rock bottom, and she's ready for you to fall a little bit so you learn how to get back up. Because if she doesn't teach you these things and you running around town in your 30s and 40s and 50s and can't keep a bank account and borrow money from folks and banks and don't pay it back, you're going to be in a world of trouble. You got the $1,500 because she sent it exactly where she told you. You're still responsible for that. Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,500. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the co-plaintiffs. The defendant owes $1,500.
Dad, can you let me borrow $1,500?
Are you serious?
It's the last time, I promise.
No.
That was my last time.
Thank you, honey.
Seriously, any lesson learned for you?
Wow.
Responsibility.
Malik Arnold claims his ex-girlfriend fell out of love with him and his DJ equipment, which she sold when he moved out. Soraya Black says he never came back for it, so she got rid of it. Ms. Black is countersuing for $400.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
You are, Your Honor.
Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day, Your Honor.
This is the case of Arnold versus Black. Mr. Arnold, you are suing Ms. Black for $800 for DJ equipment you say she sold.
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant, you say he never picked the equipment up?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're countersuing for $400 to damage to your furniture.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's start with you, Mr. Arnold. Please tell the court about this DJ equipment.
Well, Your Honor, to start, it was worth $800, and we had an agreement that I would leave it at her house while I was asked to move out our home because she fell out of love with me. So with that being said, the reason why I am suing for my DJ equipment because she went against our agreement that we had because I used that DJ equipment as a side hustle to make extra money for myself and for my kids.
But the agreement was until you got your new place.
Your Honor, with that being stated, I did get in my own place, but within the time being of that I did get it, I had to spend the month at my mom's house because I was back and forth in jobs and everything. And I spent the next month looking for a place, but I didn't solidify a place to the third month. So within the 3 months that I did find my place, I did take a little extra time to get my place, but was still planning to pick up my DJ.
So you're in a relationship, you think everything's going well. How long had you been together before you broke up?
We've been together for 7 years before we break up.
Oh, 7 years, that's a long time.
It's a minute.
So Ms. Black, you fell out of love with Mr. Arnold. After 7 years, you had to be honest with him.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
happened?
So basically, within the last year of us breaking up, we were just arguing every day about like small things like housework, taking care of the kids. He also has another child outside of the relationship, and he puts in more money into that child. But our kids, it's like I have to step up to the plate just to take care of our own kids. Two.
How many do you have?
Two.
And
2 and 3.
ages?
They're 2 and 3.
Okay. So you come to him and honestly say, I just don't feel like I'm in love with you anymore. Take me back to that day.
Yeah, so basically with that conversation, I just told him like we're arguing constantly every single day about like, literally just small things, the smallest things.
You all broke up after 7 years and didn't have any conversations?
That's where the fraudulence occurs, because I've presented multiple times before we had our kids. It was a different situation. Of course, I didn't have I had just the one responsibility. That was different. Now that I have 2 other kids in the mix, it's hard for me to
but
give.
It takes 2 to plan. It takes 2 to have kids.
It takes 2 to have kids, but it also takes 2 to have a conversation and for 2 to listen.
You felt like Ms. Black wasn't listening and wasn't communicating with you?
I feel like that she just made everything about her and didn't look at the other things around it, of the other things that I am doing to make sure my family runs well, along with the little child support I have coming out my check from my other child.
So, Ms. Black, you felt neglected with all of these other things?
Yes, I'm still young. I see my friends and other people around at my same age, and they're literally traveling, just exploring the world with men that can provide for them and take care of them. And some of them do. First of all, I'm still 7 years in this relationship, no ring. So you think I'm still gonna be just a boyfriend?
Okay, so you're 7 years in the relationship, no ring, but 2 kids. Why have 2 kids if the relationship was contingent on a ring?
I mean, I'm not saying it's contingent on a ring. I'm just saying, like, for me to continue being, we're right now co-parenting.
Now, have you ever heard the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy?
Yes.
I heard you say you were comparing your life, comparing your relationship to other people's. And I could just see what you were describing. Their man is taking him here and there, and you're probably looking at all this social media nonsense.
Yeah.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
But granted, a lot of the friends that she does have, I don't know if all of them has kids, but when you have kids, things change. And I have been openly communicating with her about that too.
And so when she said, I've fallen out of love, I really want you to leave, you just said, okay?
At the time, yes.
And why is that?
Only because I just picked up my trucking career. I was on the road a lot, so I didn't really have time to come back and digest the things that was going on.
And so you quickly just had to move your things out.
Yes, my things was packed by the door by the time I got back from my trip.
I gave him a week to just, just making sure, just like maybe the feelings, and just for now that maybe I'll just feel I love him.
Let's rewind that. I gave you a week because you told me you fell in love with me. I didn't need a week. I know who I love. I know who I want.
Coming up.
What made you just give it away? If this is something that he uses, equipment he uses as a side hustle.
Well, let's clarify.
I'm talking, Mr. Arnold.
All right.
We're back with a dispute between Malik Arnold and his ex, Soraya Black, over DJ equipment and property damage.
So your point is you do love her.
I do love this woman.
And that's who you want to be with.
Yes, ma'am.
You're willing to accept the fact if she doesn't want to be with you, you'll just walk away.
Honestly, because it's not worth my stress and my time. You want to walk away, bye.
If it's not worth your stress, then how do you want to be with me if it's not worth your stress?
Because you can't be with somebody who wants to argue every little time about things that I came to you about repeatedly. We asked repeated questions. Hey, what can I do? What's going on? What's wrong?
And I told you things
and
that
what have I done to work on it? Let's put that out there.
Nothing.
Okay, sure.
You haven't done anything.
My kids ain't starving. They got a house over their head.
The kids, of course, the kids will be taken care of. I'm talking about me and you. It's kids and us together. We make up a whole relationship.
What
we
is
make up a whole family.
exactly, if he's taking care of his children, Ms. Black, what is your issue exactly?
In a woman's mind, we move on faster. Just even if we're still in a relationship, we move on mentally, like months before we actually physically separate from the man.
So you had moved on?
Yeah.
All right. And so he left the home. The DJ equipment was still there. Where is the DJ equipment? Where was it?
The DJ equipment was on the patio, patio furniture.
And
it's
it
been
was
there for
what,
5
sitting on
months.
tables? Where was it?
It was sitting on the table. It was there just for 5 months. I told him by our contract, he was going to get his equipment.
5 months after he left?
Yes.
Where was it when he lived with you? Where was the DJ equipment kept when you all lived together?
On the patio.
No, on the same spot?
No. And when he lived in the house,
yes,
it was just in our room, set up, just in the studio room.
Okay, so in a room set up.
Yeah.
But then when he got ready to move, he put this DJ equipment on the patio.
Because I packed all his stuff, and then I guess I just put that on the patio.
So you put it on the patio?
No, ma'am. No.
When you moved the stuff?
This is what happened. My DJ equipment has a little weight to it. So what happened was after we had this little argument or whatever, I packed up my stuff and I put my DJ equipment on the patio. Now what happened after that, I don't know. But I took my stuff out the room and I just put it on the patio, and then I went on my trucking route, and then I came back. The rest of my stuff was by the door. But I did put the DJ equipment on the patio.
Well, I was just about to say, you had just worked yourself. She had just worked you out of the potential countersuit, because if she put the DJ equipment on the patio in where it was, you couldn't possibly owe her any money for furniture damage because she put it there.
Sorry.
But you just testified
No, I put it on the patio.
So
but
now the countersuit is still alive.
Okay.
And it's
still there, but I just wanted to say.
Back to leaving the DJ equipment. You left. Now, you get to a place where he hasn't come pick it up. What type of notice are you? Are you telling him, come get this, I'm going to give it away? What's happening?
I'm calling him, texting him just months, like almost every single day. Anytime I text him, he just either deflects.
Evidence of those text messages?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see them, please. And what are you saying at that time?
Basically, I'm just telling him, hey, whenever, just sending him reminders, hey, are you going to come pick up your stuff? And then he would just say, yeah, I'll get it soon. And I'll come again. And he'll be like, he tried to invite me out to lunch. I'm like, okay, lunch?
Why?
Like,
why did I invite you to lunch if you want to talk about lunch? See, Your Honor, this is one of the reasons why I don't care if she walks out my life, because she likes to make a lot of things about her. I asked her in those text messages, hey, do you want to come to lunch to talk about Malik's birthday party? Meaning, in that time, I was prepared to come and get my DJ equipment when I had the time and the space.
But you didn't show up, though.
I apologize.
So you're admitting you didn't show up when you said. I see the text messages.
Show up.
She's saying, hey, come get it. You call her Love. She says, don't call me Love. I know I haven't gotten the DJ equipment. Just remember, we'd agreed you'd pick it up when you got your place.
And I got my place.
And I need it out by our son's birthday. Are you going to come get your stuff? She's asking you again. On and on and on and on.
And at that time, I'm on the road a lot. So the time that I didn't respond, I do apologize. I have no clue what I was doing.
But you have time to see your kids and
My
take care of
kids
the
are
kids.
more important
But you
than
don't
my-
have time.
Hold on. So you've been to the house to come see the kids.
Yes, ma'am.
You just would never get the DJ equipment.
No.
But you were working as a truck driver.
Yes.
And then how long ago did you get your place?
About 3 months after.
3 months after you broke up.
After it was over
And
done
so,
with.
after you broke up, it took you 3 months to get your place.
Yes, ma'am.
At that time, the DJ equipment was there.
It still
How
is
long after you got your place, after you got the place, did you find out that she gave it away?
When I got there for my son's party.
All right, so how long after you getting your place was your son's party?
About 2 months later.
So
after
2
that.
months later?
Yeah.
Give or take.
So 60 days after he got his place. What made you just give it away? If this is something that he uses, equipment he uses as a side hustle.
Well, let's
to
clarify.
make, I'm talking, Mr. Arnold.
All right.
Coming up.
How did the DJ equipment prevent you from moving on?
That's his stuff. That brings back memories. That patio, I use that place as a safe
brings
space.
back a lot of memories too.
We're back with a dispute between Malik Arnold and his ex, Soraya Black, over DJ equipment and property damage.
Boy, when y'all come to court, y'all got to listen more than you speak. You don't understand. I'm trying to set up to make her have to explain why she would give away DJ equipment that helped you make your kids more money. It doesn't make sense. Why would you just give that away?
The 5 months that the DJ equipment has been sitting there, literally he's never used it. So how was
What's
that
he
making
gonna
money
go
for?
do? DJ on your back porch?
He's gonna take that DJ equipment to use for his shows.
But how can he do shows and get that set up when he's trying to be in transition? Because out of the blue, you told him he needs to get out. A man that's been ousted from his home does need time to get himself together.
And I gave him that time.
So that 60 days of the DJ equipment was just too much.
You can't tell me one day out of those 60 days you couldn't come. Like I said, you already come to see your kids.
It's not the point that he could come, because he could have gotten the DJ equipment, yes, in the last 5 months. What I'm saying to you is, why was that bothering you so much?
Because I'm trying to move on.
And so how did the DJ equipment prevent you from moving on?
That's his stuff. That brings back memories. That patio, I use that place as a safe
patio brings
space.
back a lot of memories too.
So every time you go out there and his DJ equipment was there, you're trying to move on with your life, but his DJ equipment was constantly reminding you of him.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming up.
How much you sell it for?
For $500. I needed the money for our son's birthday party because in the text messages I asked him that our son's birthday party will cost $600. And all he said is just to provide pizza.
What you need $600 for a 3-year-old for? He's 3.
And
get him some pizza and some ice cream.
Okay, hold.
We're back with a dispute between Malik Arnold and his ex, Soraya Black, over DJ equipment and property damage.
And why is it then you couldn't have it maybe put in a box and move to the garage and get it out of the patio?
I found out that my patio furniture was broken anyway from the DJ equipment.
Do you have a picture of the broken patio furniture?
I don't have the picture of the broken patio.
Do you have a receipt of what you paid for the patio furniture?
Yes, I have a receipt and it's in there as well. I paid $400 and I told him that I sold his DJ equipment because it broke.
You sold it or you gave it away?
I sold it. My DJ equipment was worth.
How much you sell it for?
For $500.
Look how much it's worth.
I needed the money for our son's birthday party because in the text messages I asked him that our son's birthday party will cost $600. And all he said is just to provide
He's
pizza.
3. What you need $600 for a 3-year-old for? He's 3.
And
get him some pizza and some ice cream.
Okay, hold on. Let's stay on track here, because now I see you didn't just throw it away or give it away. You sold it.
Yes, ma'am.
You sold it because you say you needed money for a 3-year-old's birthday party that pays $600.
Yes, ma'am.
So your logic as a mother of 2 kids under the age of 5 was, let me take this equipment that my ex, the father of my children, uses to make extra money for my children. Let me sell it for $500 when it's worth $800, and it could potentially earn us even more than $500 down the road.
But the thing is, I told him that I sold the equipment, and all he said was that it's okay, we'll talk about it later. He was not upset at all.
So you weren't upset about the DJ equipment being sold?
Not physically in the face. Mentally,
what?
I said it, not physically in the face.
This is the most illogical story ever.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Mr. Arnold, you had DJ equipment worth $800.
Yes, ma'am.
Sold it for $500.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't get it back. Did you pawn it? Did you sell it?
I sold it.
Okay, so we can't get it back.
Let's go.
The furniture is worth $400. It's broken and you can't use it anymore. You have to throw the furniture out. All right, we're going to split the difference here. There's $800 of damage to you, $400 damage to her, judgment for the plaintiff for $400. But I need to say this before court is adjourned. This was an unnecessary issue. You all have 2 kids together. You should be able to have this conversation between each other and resolve these issues. There are going to be so many more issues that are huger than this that you're going to have to resolve as parents. You have to learn how to communicate. This was, I'm done. I'm done. Judgment for the plaintiff for $400. And if you have something else to say, what you really need to do is direct whatever else you need to say to your co-parent and the woman you say you love, Ms. Black.
I'm trying to.
Would you like to?
I'm trying. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, after I say court is adjourned, you do that. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $400.
Speak your piece. I just need to know one thing. Do you love me?
No.
No?
Why?
Because this is what I was going to do. I was going to ask you to marry me, but...
Why are you so extra?
I'm not being extra. It's just that...
I guess.
Follow me out.
Crystal Cantor claims her ex-boyfriend ruined her life when he posted a nude image of her on social media. Darren Lewis says the photo is no different than what she normally posts herself.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Cantor versus Lewis. Ms. Cantor, you are suing Mr. Lewis for $10,000 for emotional distress. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, it's correct.
And Mr. Lewis, you say that you are not responsible for her distress.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Let's start with the plaintiff. What happened?
Your Honor, I went through hell. I'm in a huge emotional distress still. This person, my ex-boyfriend, Darren, posted my private naked photo on the Instagram. Instagram took it down, of course, but my family saw that. It basically ruined my relationship with my ex-partner, actually.
Did you bring a copy of the photo that was posted?
No, I do not have it with me anymore.
Your Honor, I have a picture right here. Yes.
So you did post it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't you dare to show that.
You submitted the post to the court. The picture is there on the monitor. What in the world would possess you to post a naked photo of your ex-girlfriend on Instagram and then caption it, "So happy for my girl Crystal on her new relationship"? What kind of crap is this?
Your Honor, the photo posting was honestly coming from a good place and good intentions.
What good place?
Oh, really?
You said
Really?
it was a naked photo. That's even against Instagram's guidelines. She said they took it down.
And as you can see, they took it down, and it only really got 38 likes. Not really much of a reach when you compare that
It's
to
now over the whole internet. All my family saw that. You
1,173
ruined my
followers that
relationship
she
with
has.
my ex-boyfriend that I really,
Photos
really
that
love.
were basically the same caliber of this, that she posted willingly, that had a much wider reach, hundreds of likes we're talking, that had basically just as much nudity as this. She's trying
hold on.
to. Yeah.
Do you have a picture of what her page used to look like?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right. So I don't know why you're talking about it then. Because why are you talking about something that you can't prove in court? That means you're just running your mouth and wasting my time. So moving on, Ms. Cantor, when do you see the photo? Where are you when you see the photo?
From the phone of my ex-boyfriend, Michael.
All right. And then you say to him what? He says to you, what in the world is this?
Yeah, he was a very conservative person. You know, he's from very conservative family, and me actually originally too. And when I met him, I finally went on a direction in life where I can be myself, in a space where nobody judging me or pushing me to actually post, you know, provocative photos that actually Darren were pushing me to post during our relationship. You know,
Darren was making you post sexy photos of yourself.
That's not true.
I felt constant pressure.
No, that is not
okay?
true.
I felt constant pressure, like, because he is a photographer and he's traveling all the time, and the most connection that we have was through FaceTime calls. And before every
What does that have to do with him pressuring you to post sexy photos?
Because he were texting to me every time.
No.
Before,
I never
before
pressured
the call
you to
and
post
asking me more
anything or to
hot
take
pictures.
Oh, so
to send
he
him.
wanted you to send hot pictures of yourself to him?
Yes.
But did he want you to post them on your Instagram?
Yeah, because he's a photographer and he's like, you know, you will be looking like better, hotter, you get more followers. And I did not like it from the day one, this idea, but because I was
So you said
into him.
your point is he's a photographer. He was encouraging you to be this influencer and take these pictures
Yes.
and post these pictures. It wasn't how you really wanted to portray yourself.
Of course.
And this was during your relationship?
With him, yeah.
How long did you all date?
3 months, Your Honor.
3 months.
Were you taking pictures? Is this what you do? Are you a photographer, but what you really like to do is take pictures of naked women and encourage women to post very provocative photos on social media? Is that your MO?
That's not my MO, Your Honor. I'm a professional photographer. I travel all over the country, and I do a lot of different work, including weddings,
And
swimsuit
naked
models,
women's.
male swimsuit models, street
Including-
photography. I do portraits. I do corporate photography. Okay, I do it all. I was very transparent about this when we first started dating.
Coming up.
And it's the photo that I have that makes me the happiest when I see her, when I think about her. So I thought, let's commemorate this moment.
You're lying. Does that nameplate say Boo Boo the Fool? No.
We're back with the case of Crystal Cantor, who brought her ex-boyfriend, Darren Lewis, to court for damaging her reputation.
Did you encourage her to get more followers by posting sexy pictures on her page?
No, Your Honor. She was already always posting sexy photos on her page out of her own
Never
accord
before
the
him.
entire time. As a matter of fact, I was very clear with her that I love you for who you are, inside and out, regardless of what you post or what you look like.
And I love you so much the way you are that when we break up and you get a new boyfriend, I'm going to say congratulations by posting a naked picture of you on the internet. You making about as much sense as I just did.
Your Honor, I genuinely thought the photo was beautiful and displayed her in her best light, and it's the photo that I have that makes me the happiest when I see her, when I think about her. So I thought, let's commemorate this moment.
You're lying. Does that nameplate say Boo Boo the Fool? No. You're lying. Come up with something better. I'll wait.
Your Honor, this whole new conservative, I'm conservative, this new boyfriend is bringing me back to where I'm supposed to be, it's all an act. She's always been posting these promiscuous photos, and the truth is she's only claiming to have this conservative outlook and mindset so that she can align with this new boyfriend so that she can then milk him for more money, just like she's trying to milk me for $10,000 right now, just like she was trying to milk me for money when we were dating.
Coffees from his card and one dress.
See, Sean, all you got to do is challenge him.
It all
Then they
comes
start
out.
telling all the dirt. What else did she do, Mr. Lewis? She was
used my
trying to
card
milk
to
you
buy
for
all
money.
kinds of things. She was buying meals with other people.
Who gave me
she
this
was
card?
buying
Darren, who
dresses,
gave me this
shopping
card?
sprees. You took the card while I was traveling on work, and then
You
she
gave me
she would
yourself
also
this
use the
card.
card to buy what's that sexy lingerie that she would then
For
send
you,
photos
because
of
you
me in.
were pressuring me to be this
I
way
never
for
pressured you to.
All right. The biggest red flag is that whole time he was lying to me. This is how I realized this is not the person I
not
want to
true.
be with. And after I moved on, and yes, I changed, Your Honor. People changed because I
But they
started to
don't
have a
change
relationship
overnight.
with the
Were
another
you
person.
charging up his credit cards and were you spending his money while
Yes.
he was? You were.
I was Your Honor because he gave me this credit card. And the thing is, why I started spending the money because I wanted to get his attention and I wanted to see if he really do cares about me. My mom told me if the guy is spending money on you, it means he really do care about you, you know, and want to
I
become
really
one.
did care about you, actually, and I
Really?
would spend money on you
And
if
that's
you
why you
recall
posted my naked
that
photo
gold
on the
rose
Instagram.
necklace that I got you for your birthday.
Right?
I did spend
Then my
money
grandma
for
and my
you
family
until you took it
just saw
out
my
of
naked
control and
picture.
started spending
All right,
all
let's
the money.
get some order. Well, I asked.
Yeah,
I asked.
they told.
So we know what's going on here. This is obvious. This is a breakup gone wrong. You are feeling abandoned, Mr. Lewis. You're angry. You are angry at the way in which Miss Cantor operated during the relationship. You felt taken advantage of. She moved on with the new guy. And you weren't happy about that. And so you wanted to out her, right? You wanted to expose her. And it's interesting that you decided to post a naked picture because you wanted to expose her on many levels. And that picture, am I just too deep? Or is it obvious, gallery? He's a photographer, so his way of exposing her was through a photo. And what you were saying was, oh, here you go. After I spent all my money, gave you my credit cards, and did whatever it took to try to keep you, you moved on with this other guy. And what you should have known as a photographer is you absolutely cannot post pornographic, nude photos of someone else on the internet, that is what you call revenge porn. And there are laws that protect people from that because you know good and well that that was not okay. I can see the look in your eyes, you knew it was not okay. And so I want to know, Ms. Cantor, once he posted that, what type of damages did that cause for you?
Besides that, all my friends and my family and grandma saw that. My boyfriend, Michael, literally broke up with me. And last of the vacation, I was...
Where did he get this picture from? You sent it to him?
No, he actually showed me. My friends...
No, where did Mr. Lewis get the naked picture from? You sent it to him?
I sent him to him privately.
Right, so you...
During
and
our
that's
relationship.
another lesson. Ladies and men, let's stop sending nude pictures, right? Because you know that still lives in the cloud in your phone and everything else.
The thing is, I loved him. I loved him very much, and he was traveling. I wanted to make it work, and he was traveling all the time.
It was 90 days. Y'all didn't love each other that much in 90 days.
Coming up.
And you're never thinking about what's the worst case scenario. If I send this nude picture to this man that I want so bad, and I got his credit cards, and I'm spending money, and my mother told me if he spend money, he really loves you. And I'm not gonna say nothing about your mama, except that she's wrong.
We're back with the case of Crystal Cantor, who brought her ex-boyfriend, Darren Lewis, to court for damaging her reputation.
The bottom line is you just doing too much, too fast. You're not thinking, you're not protecting yourself, and you're never thinking about what's the worst case scenario. If I send this nude picture to this man that I want so bad, and I got his credit cards, and I'm spending money, and my mother told me if he spend money, he really loves you, and I'm not gonna say nothing about your mama, except that she's wrong. Because there's a lot of men who just spend money because they got money to spend. It doesn't mean they care about you. And ultimately, when you move on with someone else, he then posts this kind of picture. I need to know from you, what are your damages? You were upset, your family knew.
I have a receipt here.
That's what I'd like to see.
$4,000 that I paid for my flight to back home from Paris.
I'll take your evidence too.
Your Honor, her grandmother or her friends did not see this. As you can see,
Do
if
you
you pull
have
it up.
any other damages besides the plane ticket? You were informed about the picture. What are your other damages besides this plane ticket?
I broke up with the guy that I was really into.
Who you were dating for 1 month.
I am from very conservative family, and my parents now actually do not speak with me.
Okay.
And I'm afraid that next time when I will be have a relationship with somebody who I really love, he's gonna post something more private that we had when we were together.
And so you live in constant fear.
Yes.
That he's going to be posting because he has more nude pictures.
Because this man has no owner.
I don't have anything else.
You don't have any other pictures?
No.
Coming up.
I woke up in the middle of the night right now and just thinking how I have to prove myself to the people that this image that he created about me, this is not who I am.
We're back with the case of Crystal Cantor, who brought her ex-boyfriend, Darren Lewis, to court for damaging her reputation.
Ms. Cantor, I need you to tell the court what damage you've suffered because of Mr. Lewis's unlawful actions.
Besides that, my family do not speak with me anymore. I actually lost my job. Your Honor, I love kids. I used to work with the kids, helping in a kindergarten, you know, and now nobody wants me around the kids because everybody think about me, I don't know in what. I've been in such emotional distress this last months that I started visiting psychotherapy, you know, counselor, and this is money too. This plane ticket for $4,000 that I had to get covers just like half of the amount that I'm asking. Who is gonna like pay for the time that I will be searching for the new job? And if I will find this job ever again, because people now do not wanna have anything to do with me. And this is not the person I am. It just was so much shame and so much embarrassing. Like last 3 nights, I literally was crying. I woke up in the middle of the night right now and just thinking how I have to get out from all of that. how I have to prove myself to the people that this image that he created about me, this is not who I am.
And now you're left to undo what one post and one picture can do. And I hope you understand that now, Ms. Cantor, right? Because had you not sent that picture to him, he wouldn't have it in his possession to use against you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It doesn't make what he did right at all, because he's wrong as the day is long.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
You're not the first young woman, and you're not the last one to see a successful, artistic guy taking pictures and looking like he's enjoying life and traveling the world, and he's whining and dining you and leaving you credit cards to spend, to get caught up and cross the line on what you know you need to be doing for yourself. Right?
Yes.
And when
Yes,
you
Your
don't
Honor.
respect and protect yourself, you leave the door open for someone to disrespect you. Do you understand? And that's exactly what
You're
happened.
absolutely right.
It has been obvious to this court that Ms. Cantor has suffered significant damages due to the emotional distress caused by your unlawful behavior, Mr. Lewis. And for this reason, judgment for the plaintiff for $10,000. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $10,000.
This is what you deserve. It's what you made it yourself.
Says it all. Exit this way, please.
Bryce Lakewood claims he helped his former work wife when she needed a loan, only she skipped out on the balance. Chanel Simpson says she worked off what was owed, but the plaintiff crossed the line by expecting more.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Lakewood versus Simpson. Mr. Lakewood, you are suing Ms. Simpson for $600 from a personal loan. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Simpson, you say you do not owe the plaintiff anything.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, I'd like to start with you, Mr. Lakewood. Tell me what happened.
Well, Your Honor, I'm suing the defendant, Chanel Simpson, for $600 related to a loan I gave her during her time of unemployment.
All right. How do you know each other?
We worked at the same call center for 3 years.
Okay.
We were good friends during that time. As a matter of fact, a lot of people joked around the office that she was my work wife and I was her work husband.
Okay.
Because we used to look out for each other and communicate all the time. Like if I went to lunch, I'd buy her lunch. If she went to lunch, she'd buy me some lunch. So we just had a really good friendship, but we really just laughed it off because, the work wife, work husband thing, because we knew there was really nothing going on there.
All right. And so I've heard that before, and, people do establish, alliances and friendships and very close associations in the workplace, sometimes too close, but it can work. Ms. Simpson, so you experienced a period of unemployment.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And can you tell me what the circumstances were that prompted you to take a loan from Mr. Lakewood?
Yes, Your Honor. So I had been unemployed for a little bit of time. During my tenure at the call center, I hadn't been able to really save up a lot of money. But I had a lot of bills still coming in. So I was taking money from family whenever they were able to bless me with it to help me get things paid down. And Bryce would check in with me from time to time because we were friends.
So were you still working at the call center then?
No. By this time, my department had been downsized, and I was downsized along with it.
All right. Mm-hmm. So you were not working at the time.
No.
Your family would help you out a little bit.
Yes.
Did you file for unemployment?
Yes, but it was taking some time to come in.
All right. And so during that time, you were falling behind on some bills, and you asked Mr. Lakewood to borrow money.
Yes.
How much money did you ask to borrow?
$2,000, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Lakewood, she calls you and asks you to borrow $2,000?
Actually, we kept in touch during the time after she became unemployed, and we shoot messages back and forth, just checking on each other. And it came to the point where I said, you know, I understand unemployment takes a long time to kick in, and when it kicks in, they don't pay much. So I said, is there some way I can help you out? She said, sure, that'd be great. I said, well, how much do you need? And she said, well, about $2,000 would really help.
Okay.
So I have the proof here of the Venmo that I sent her of $2,000.
I'd like to see it, please.
Okay.
I'll take all of your evidence here.
Okay. Plus the text messages as well, Your Honor, where we
And so,
exchanged back
Ms.
and forth.
Simpson, you agree that you did borrow the $2,000 and he did send it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, here's the proof. So that is not an issue. You have text messages. You guys just checking on each other.
Yes.
If you need a loan, I got you. $2,000. But I don't know when I can pay you back. You, Mr. Lakewood, say, I've been there. There's no rush. I want to make sure you're all right. And then you say, thanks, Bryce. I promise to pay you back. And then you say, I'm not worried. I know where you live. Laugh out loud. You say facts.
Yes.
Okay. And he says, send me your Venmo. I'll send it over. So how do we get here? How is it that there are $600 remaining on the loan? Did she pay back the other $1,400?
Well, Your Honor, when I made her the loan, I knew the stress level was high, and I didn't put any kind of time frame on the repayment or any kind of...
That was kind of you.
Thank you. Or any kind of dollar amount per month or per week, because I didn't want to add to her stress. So over the next 4 months, she paid me back $1,400 of the loan.
Coming up.
Things started to go south for us.
Why did it go south?
I was in the office doing my data entry and filing papers, and Mr. Lakewood comes into the office and asks me to do a load of laundry.
And later.
As a landscaper, I know my plants quite well. I happen to know that none of those plants are dangerous to people in any way, shape, or form.
We're back with a dispute between Bryce Lakewood and his former work wife, Chanel Simpson, over the status of a loan.
I have a side printing business besides the call center that's really starting to flourish, and I needed some help with some light data entry and some filing. So I told her, if you come by once a week for 4 weeks and help me with this data entry and help me with this light filing, we'll call it even. Because I would have had to hire somebody to come in and do it anyway.
All right, so that seemed like a decent compromise. You could kind of work it off instead of having the pressure to pay that back.
Yes.
And so, Ms. Simpson, did you agree to go work at the printing company with Mr. Lakewood?
Of course, yes.
And what happened?
So the first 2 weeks were fine. Things went smoothly. I was in his office. I was just doing light filing work, data entry. The third week, though, things started to go south for us.
Why did it go south?
So I was in the office doing my data entry and filing papers, and Mr. Lakewood comes into the office and asks me to do a load of laundry.
Hold on, Your Honor. I have helped her at her apartment dozens of times when something breaks or leaks or blows out. When her car broke down, I was the one that got in my car with the jumper cables to jump her car.
Yeah,
I've
but
helped
that's
her
all
a dozen
mechanical.
times.
It's not intimate. It's not personal. I didn't ask you to do my laundry or clean my bathtub.
I've never done her laundry or cleaned her bathtub, but we've helped each other back and forth a bunch of times.
So why is it, Mr. Lakewood, if you've got Ms. Simpson working, why is it you just make time to do your own laundry? Why ask her to do that?
It was just a small favor. I figured that we've done favors back and forth for each other all the time, and it wouldn't be that big a deal.
And she obviously didn't want to do it.
I did not.
Did you express that, or did you do the laundry?
I did the laundry, Your Honor.
Okay, so you did the laundry, and then what?
So then I do the laundry. After I get that done, I'm back in the office, and then he comes in and he asks for a back rub.
Oh, no, that's a complete mischaracterization, Your Honor. I'm sorry. What I said was, wow, it's been a really long day because I'd worked a double at the call center. I said, my shoulders really hurt. Man, I could use a back rub. I didn't go, I could use a back rub or something like that.
You didn't have to. You looked dead at my face and said, oh, my shoulders hurt. I need a back rub. How else am I supposed to take that?
And so you were offended by that?
Yes.
And you told him what?
I told him no, that was over the line and inappropriate, and I got out of there.
You got so mad, you just decided to leave?
I was done for the day. I had one more week.
Oh, you were done for the day?
Yeah.
So did you do the last week?
I did. I showed up to do the last week because I wanted to finish the job and be done with the $600 that I owed him.
And so did you finish the job?
I feel like I did, and I got there the fourth week, And things were going fine. I was in the office in front of the filing cabinet, almost done with the last box of papers, when Mr. Lakewood walks up behind me, brushes up against my back with his chest, hands me a folder over my shoulder, and says, "Hey, do you mind filing this under D for me?"
It was deliveries, Your Honor. I run a small printing company. We
Under
have to-
D, I just caught that.
Your Honor, under deliveries, the
Under
things I
D.
print have to be delivered to my clients.
Yeah,
I
but
did
you
not
didn't
run
have
up
to say
against
it
her
like that.
and rub up against her and say, "Hey, file this under D" or something like that.
Well, you might
I
as
am
well
so
have.
glad you weren't talking like that, because it is getting on my last nerve in here. Did you rub up against her?
I may have.
Let's just cut to the
I
chase.
didn't rub
Do
up
you
against her on
like
purpose.
Miss Simpson? Do you have affection for her that extends beyond the work husband, work wife? Because sometimes that work husband, work wife thing can be code for affections that should not be expressed because both of y'all got real husbands and real wives. Or it could just be affections that maybe you're suppressing because you value the friendship more than an intimate connection, so you just want to keep it cool. So can you cut to the chase?
Well,
Did you have feelings for her?
She is low-key kind of fine, Your Honor. And I figured since we didn't work together, if she's the work wife, she might as well become the wifey wife. So
And you weren't married?
No, neither was
And you weren't married?
No, Your Honor.
But you obviously didn't like him like that.
No, I did not think he was low-key fine or any kind of fine.
Well, there you have it, kids. You in here suing her for $600. She could be in here suing you. As a matter of fact, she could own your own little printing operation because what you basically did amounted to sexual harassment. Trust me, men have been sued and taken down for less.
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot be asking women for back rubs and do my laundry and brushing up against them in the office. No, you cannot. I have no idea why you've wasted everybody's time and brought her to court today to sue her for $600. I mean, clearly she worked off $150 worth of filing in 4 weeks.
Well, Your Honor, I had to pay someone else to come in for 5 days to finish the work that she left.
Yeah, because you're so busy worrying her to death about doing your laundry, rubbing your back, and coming in between the file cabinet, you threw her all off. You made her uncomfortable. And that's your fault, not hers.
That was not
Judgment
my
for the
intention.
defendant, court is adjourned. I'm done with it. You know better.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I needed my money.
You don't need the money. I gave you the money. I worked off what I owed you. You didn't need to take it this far.
Well, I had to pay someone else to come in and finish your work. So.
That was not my problem. You shouldn't have been so inappropriate.
No, it was my problem because
Yeah.
I need my money.
Coming up,
My dog, he was just acting different. He was throwing up and all of this. So then I got really worried, what's going on? When we took him to the vet, and when we took him to the vet, is when, she said that there was poison. The reason why he was acting like that, he was poisoned.
David and Sophia Nunez claim they were shocked that the beautiful garden they had installed was the reason their dog almost died. Michael Crest says the co-plaintiffs only asked for plants that were non-toxic to kids.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Nunez versus Crest. Mr. and Mrs. Nunez, you are suing Mr. Crest for $2,569 in veterinary bills for your dog eating poisonous plants. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the defendant, you claim you provided the exact services you were contracted to do. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Start from the beginning, Mr. and Ms. Nunez. You were getting plants?
Yes.
Okay, explain to the court what you contracted Mr. Crest to do.
My wife's always wanted a beautiful garden, so,
It has always been my dream.
yeah. So, why not provide that for her? She contracted this individual here, and things just didn't go as
How
planned.
did you find Mr. Crest, Ms. Nunez?
Yeah, so we found him online. So I was able to find him online. I saw so many good reviews when I was looking online for that.
Mr. Crest, do you remember getting the call from Mr. or Mrs. Nunez about her wanting you to do their yard?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, and what did that call entail? What were you talking about?
The initial call was pretty general, but I did meet her at her home. She did have some very detailed, inspirational pictures that she gave me, showing me what she wanted from this job. She did specify that they had a 2-year-old son. This garden needed to be safe for their child to be in. We had an arrangement that none of the flowers, none of the plants were going to be toxic.
Coming up.
When I came home, she told me that the dog wasn't acting right. I saw the dog. The dog was almost dead. He was lying on the ground with his tongue hanging out.
We're back with the case of David and Sophia Nunez, who brought landscaper Michael Kress to court for planting a toxic garden.
Was this arrangement in writing?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it
Did you bring the contract?
I have it right here.
May I see it, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Continue.
So, we agreed that none of the plants would be poisonous. As a landscaper, I know my plants quite well. I happen to know that none of those plants are dangerous to people in any way, shape, or form.
I see in the agreement that you're to plant non-poisonous plants. Customers going to pre-purchase the seeds.
That's correct.
So what went wrong? Did you get the garden you wanted?
Well, everything in the beginning, nothing was was wrong. Like, it was beautiful. Like, he did a great job. I was extremely happy. He was happy. I was happy. So everything was fine. But then we got a dog. And a month after we got a dog.
A month or so, yeah.
And then everything was fine. But all of a sudden, I realized that my dog, like, he was just acting different. He was throwing up and all of this. So then I got really worried, like, what's going on? So that's when we took him to the vet. And when we took him to the vet is when, like, she said that there was poison. The reason why he was acting like that, he was poisoned.
When I found the dog, when I came home, she told me that the dog wasn't acting right. I saw the dog. The dog was almost dead. He was lying on the ground with his tongue hanging out, almost lifeless. When we arranged for him to put all the plants in our garden, we specifically told him we wanted nothing not toxic because we have a 2-year-old son. You're right. Yeah, the dog wasn't around yet, but I mean, he had to be aware that animals would eventually get to these plants because there's rabbits, there's squirrels, raccoons, all kind of stuff that, that could be toxic too. I don't want to find any dead animals in my garden.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
When they specifically said, we don't want anything poisonous, you understood what that meant?
I understood.
Or what was your understanding?
My understanding was that they didn't want any plants in their garden that could be potentially toxic to their 2-year-old child. They said they did not want any plants in their garden that were dangerous to humans.
Why should you have to explain that?
Because there are things that are dangerous to lots of different animals that aren't dangerous to humans. Chocolate is dangerous to dogs. Is it dangerous to humans?
Let's get some order. You should have, just like you're just arguing about in open court today, said there are so many variables to what is toxic. All you had to do was ask them one question. When you say nothing poisonous, do you mean poisonous to humans, animals, or both? In this instance, I do believe, Mr. Kress, you failed to ask one important question that a reasonable person in your business at that time with a family and a yard and a young child should have asked. For that reason, judgment for the plaintiff for $2,569. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the co-plaintiffs. The defendant owes $2,569.
I respect Judge Lake, but I completely disagree with this. I mean, I'm sorry about what happened to your dog. I love dogs, but you did not tell me you were getting one, so I don't think there's much else I could have done.
So what you're saying is you're not sorry?
What I'm saying is I didn't know you were going to have a dog.
Theo Thompson claims his cousin ordered the wrong size tent for their family reunion, so he had to scramble to make it right. Roman Prater says the original tent was extra like his cousin, so he got the right one instead.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Thank you.
Good morning,
Please
Your
be
Honor.
seated. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Let's try that one more time. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
All right, that's more like it. This is the case of Thompson versus Prater. Mr. Thompson, you are suing Mr. Prater, your cousin.
Yes.
For $2,200 for expenses relating to your family reunion. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your
Oh,
Honor.
boy. How did we get here? I want to start with you, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, well, like you said, I am suing the defendant, who happens to be my little cousin, who's actually like a little brother to me. Every year, if not every year, every other year, we try to have a family reunion. We have a huge family. We love on one another. We like to get together. We like to sip. We like to eat.
That's what we do at family reunions.
That's exactly what we do. And we tend to do it well. You know, sometimes things go astray, but we're family. That's how things happen. But this year, the family appointed me to run the family reunion committee. So I'm responsible for delegating different tasks and everything. And because my cousin / little brother, Roman, is good with money, he has an accounting degree, he has his own business, his own barbershop business. He's very responsible.
All right.
You know, and I'm very proud of the work that he's done. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to ask him to be the treasurer for the family reunion committee, and he agreed. So we got together. I went through the checklist of everything that we needed for the family reunion. And for this year, everybody's responding, about 200 family members. So because of that number, I told him we need at least a 40 by 60 size tent that's going to house and fit about 200 people, plus extra room in case people bring, you know, their guests or whatever, because, you know, we like to eat. You know, we like the ribs, we like the potato salad, we like all of that, the mac and cheese, all of that.
Yes, some corn on the cob.
That too, with a lot of butter and pepper.
Yes,
you know, so, you know, we went through the checklist. He assured me that he would have everything in tow for the family reunion. So to my surprise, when I go to the venue on the morning of the family reunion.
Well, I want to be clear now.
Yes, ma'am.
So you agreed to a 40 by 60 tent.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what you needed.
Yes.
All right, and I want to be clear, Mr. Prater, you remember your cousin, Mr. Thompson, saying we need a 40 by 60 tent.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to come to you in 1 second. Take me to the moment you come to the family reunion. What happens?
So I arrived at the venue, Your Honor, and immediately I'm flabbergasted because I have a construction business. So I can look at things and I can tell if it's of sufficient size or not. And I knew instantly that was not a 40 by 60. So I'm not gonna lie, Your Honor, I'm irritated. I'm a little disappointed because I know his track record. He handles his business, so I couldn't understand what went wrong here in the lines of communication.
All right, so did you call him?
Immediately, Your Honor, I'm calling him. It's going to voicemail. I'm sending him text messages. Yo, cuz, hit me back. We have a problem. We have an issue. Nothing, Your Honor. So what do I have to do? Being the businessman that I am as well, I have to run behind him. I'm rushing, contacting different businesses to see if they can accommodate what we need last minute.
And so you started looking for another tent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you find one?
I did. About the fourth business that I contacted, thank God they had what we needed at that time. I had to come out of pocket for these expenses.
Because the other tent was bought from the family reunion funds.
Correct.
All right. I want to go to your cousin, Mr. Prater, and I want to give you a chance to respond because Mr. Thompson says he counted on you to get the 40 by 60 tent, which was going to be paid for out of the family reunion funds, but you came up short, literally and figuratively, because the tent wasn't large enough, right?
Correct.
So tell the court what happened. Why did you decide on getting a smaller tent instead of the one he asked for?
Well,
or that you decided on because you admitted that you agreed to that?
Right. Well, Your Honor, being that this is my first year being in charge or treasurer, you know, we want to be able to accommodate for a big family that we have. You know, it's out in Florida. You know, most of us are from Atlanta, most of us from, you know, 50-50. But, you know, so we want to come in and do our thing, you know. So basically, I've seen in the past years that, you know, a lot of people, we have 200 people saying that they're coming or whatever, but only like 120, 150 come, you know? So it's like we have more than what we need. You know, he's always extra. The whole family knows he's extra. Everybody knows he's extra, you know? So by us being here is extra, you know? So.
Coming up.
The tent is $1,700. You're suing for $2,200. What's the other $500 for?
Because he broke my nose, Your Honor. He sucker punched.
Oh, Lord.
Sucker punch?
He sucker punched me when it was a nudge, cuz.
who blames his cousin Roman Prater for messing up their family reunion.
So in your past experience, you plan for all these people and then a lot of them don't show.
Correct.
All right, I get that. I've also been there on the family reunion planning committee, and it is not easy because sometimes people have good intentions about coming, then they got to get off work. So in your estimation, having a financial background, you said, what, I can just make this work with a smaller tent and spend less money?
So that's why I chose to get the 30 by 30, and I feel like it turned out well. But, you know, when everything gets to, you know, a heated, you know, situation, then he comes into my space and, you know, start getting physical with me. That's when everything makes a left turn.
All right, now I want to get to the left turn, and I get that. You're being frugal, you think you're being fiscally responsible. When you go to order the tent, you see the difference in price, and you say to yourself, I'm going to just make this call. The 30 by 30 will be enough. We're saving $675. That's significant.
Yes.
And this is what we're going to do. So now the family reunion obviously goes off well until, like you said, it goes left.
Yes.
Yes.
Take me back to the point where it goes left, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, so I didn't want to ruin a family reunion, so I wanted to wait till the end, toward the end. And that's when I brought...
Are you extra? That's what I want to know.
I can be extra, Your Honor.
Okay.
I can be extra. I can take accountability for that.
Extra.
Not a little extra, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm saying I admitted it, so I just wanted you to admit it in open court.
Yes,
but
Your
I
Honor.
already could tell.
Okay.
But just so you said it in open court. All right.
Yes, Your
so
Honor.
you know you were extra.
Yeah,
And
yes.
so how did it go left?
Okay, so I presented him, I said, cuz I had the invoice from my purchase that I made out of my pocket.
And do
I
you
had
have that invoice here?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
I'll take that.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so yeah, I showed him the invoice, and I reminded him on what we agreed when we went down the checklist. And so I basically told him, cuz you need to come up out your pocket and reimburse me for the money I came out my pocket because you didn't follow the guidelines that we both agreed to. So I tried to hand him the invoice. He didn't want to take it. So that irritated me even more, Your Honor. So I took the invoice and I kind of nudged him a little bit.
Because what happened, Mr. Prater said the tent he ordered was sufficient. You still felt like when it was all said and done that you needed the larger tent.
I do, Your Honor, because we had some extra people to show up, you know, because people like to be a little extra sometimes.
Yeah.
So people brought, you know, their friends or, you know.
Unexpected.
Exactly.
All right.
So, and I can understand his logic behind the financial part about it, but don't just go and make an executive decision like that without confirming it with me because I am the head of the family reunion committee. I brought him in as the treasurer, you know, so at least have a conversation
He's
with
giving
me.
big brother energy right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, so that's where my issue came in.
All right,
Your
so
Honor.
how did it go left?
Okay, so when I nudged him to give him the invoice, because he didn't want to take it the first time, I don't know, I guess he thought I was being too aggressive or trying to attack him. But it was just like, you know, a little nudge, like, here, you're going to take this invoice.
It's not a nudge.
And it was.
Most definitely wasn't. You extended your arm. That's a push. It's a shove. It's not a nudge.
So you felt like when he went to hand you that invoice, it was aggressive. Did it hit your person? Did it hit you somewhere when he handed it to you?
First of all, when he came to hand me the invoice, he didn't come to initially hand it to me. He came with a high tone of voice and being very disrespectful, trying to belittle me in front of the family. He was doing a lot. He tried to tell me that, he asked me, can I do simple math? And he got all our grandmothers and our family there and everything. It made me feel disrespected as a man. And I told him, like, watch your mouth or things is going to get crazy because at the end of the day, I'm a man too. You know, like, you may be older than me and everything, but I will get with you too if that come down to it, especially at the family reunion.
Yeah.
So he came, I pulled up.
That's aggressive.
Being that everything was going on throughout the day, you know, I admit I was doing a lot earlier in the day too. When he was calling me, I was not picking up. That's only because I was going around accommodating for our family, driving them around to hotels and wherever they had to go because a lot of people coming from out of town, you know?
Yeah.
This was your job.
We have a cousin Ray who's supposed to be in charge of transportation and logistics and everything. He called me to ask for backup, you know, so I thought maybe I'm gonna hit him up later, you know, and tap in with him later and explain everything. And then
So you thought you'd talk about it later,
Yes.
but Mr. Thompson, you want to talk about it now because you you had spent this money on this tent that you thought was unnecessary. Get me to the money. The tent is $1,700. You suing for $2,200. What's the other $500 for?
Because he broke my nose, Your Honor. He sucker punched
Lord.
me.
Sucker punch.
He sucker punched me when it was a nudge, cuz.
No.
It was a nudge, and he
so
sucker
you got,
punched me.
he sucker punched you in the nose, broke your nose. You had to
Yes, Your
go
Honor.
to urgent care.
I did. I had to go to the emergency room. He messed up my nice nose. I liked my nose.
Coming up.
Plus, I can't get my deposit back
That's your
from
fault.
the tent because when he sucker punched me, I fell back on the tent. It ripped, so it was damaged.
We're back with the case of Theo Thompson, who blames his cousin Roman Prater for messing up their family reunion.
And it was $500
Yes,
for
Your
your
Honor.
medical expenses on that day because of that.
Your Honor. And plus, I can't get my deposit back
That's your
from
fault.
the tent because when he sucker punched me, I fell back on the tent. It ripped, so it was damaged.
That's your fault.
So you took a damaged tent back.
Yes, Your Honor,
The
and
tent-
couldn't get my deposit back either.
So that the $1,700 was what you paid.
Yes,
There
Your
was a
Honor.
portion of that you were going to get back when you returned it, but you didn't.
Yes.
Because it was damaged.
Damaged, yes,
So
Your
you're
Honor.
basically asking for the total cost of the rental of the tent
Yes, Your Honor.
and then also your medical expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is what I
think
see
it's fair.
here. And I've listened to this story thoroughly because I really want to understand, because family dynamics are difficult.
It can be.
It's not always easy, and I don't know what it is. I mean, you got the potato salad, the corn on the cob, all the food, everything set up, but it seems like a family reunion is never complete without a family feud.
That's right.
And that's a problem. But what I see here is that although you dislike the fact that your young cousin, little brother, made the unilateral decision to order a smaller tent, you then made a unilateral decision to go and order a larger tent.
Exactly.
Because you're extra, you wanted what you wanted, you had a vision for what you wanted the family reunion to look like, and the truth is you felt like he let you down, or he, broke authority, he didn't do what you asked, and that bothered you.
Coming up.
Him punching you in the nose and turning into a... First of all, y'all all tired, probably done full of heat all day, worn out, exhausted. It was a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a fight happened that was unnecessary.
We're back with the case of Theo Thompson, who blames his cousin Roman Prater for messing up their family reunion.
You also, I can understand, were nervous about the amount of people and you wanted to pull this off. I get this, right? But I always say, listen, and I say it to myself, sometimes my high expectations lead me to high expenses. Because I'm the only one that has expectations that are through the roof, and most people are thinking differently. Maybe trying to save money in areas, maybe thinking about where we can tweak things. So the expense that you incurred was based upon your desire to have a larger tent. You had a tent, and the tent was paid for from the funds. Nobody owes you any money for the tent.
Okay.
Now, as for the medical expenses, right? You admit that you were up in his face. You also admit that when you went to give him this, you touched his person with the invoice, right?
Yes.
Now that may not have been your intent to assault someone, but when you're coming at somebody arguing and yelling and you come to them with your hand, right? A person has a right to defend themselves. Him punching you in the nose and turning into a... First of all, y'all all tired, probably done full of heat all day, worn out, exhausted. It was a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a fight happened that was unnecessary. Now, you say this to your little brother. You say this is like a little brother to you. He's your cousin.
Yes.
He looks up to you.
Yes.
I'm going to give you an opportunity before I rule. And I want to ask you, do you or do you not really want to sue your little cousin, your little brother over $500 that you all really know that you could have resolved the same saga or situation in a different way?
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
He was trying to not talk about it that day and wait until everything was over, but you insisted on dealing with it that day. Do you feel like you have a part to play in that?
Hearing your comments, Your Honor, yes, I can take accountability for my actions. And no, I don't want to sue my cousin, little brother.
Good.
You know,
I'm so glad you said that. Because the truth is, I wasn't going to award you any money anyway, because if somebody comes at me with a fist and I think something about to happen, then I have a right to defend myself. But I'm glad you said it in open court, because that's what he needed to hear, and that's the resolution we need. And I'm going to close today with your own words, Mr. Thompson, because when you opened up your testimony, you said, sometimes things go astray, and I wrote it down. But at the end of the day, we're still family. And I hope you understand that, recognize that, and move accordingly. Be proud of yourselves for what you produce for your family, and don't bring this ridiculousness into your family, because it affects everybody. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
See, I told you, man, just trust me, man. Next time it'll be all better. We won't have to go through all this next time, you know?
You kind of right there, cuz.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Yeah, love you too.
I like the way that sounds, man. Follow me out.
George Miller claims when he got to his daughter's wedding, her stepfather walked her down the aisle instead of him. Brianna Miller says, unlike the plaintiff, her stepdad was always there for her.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Miller versus Miller. Mr. Miller, you are suing your daughter, Ms. Miller, for $606 for travel costs you say you incurred, and you were cut out of her wedding last minute.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Ms. Miller, you say it was a gift. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Miller, take me back to how you got cut out of your daughter's wedding.
Okay, Your Honor. Well, I'm going to start from the beginning. Her mother and I were together, and we separated when she was about 6 years old. Tried to keep the marriage together, but her mother was very impersonal and cold to me, so I left. And
Your Honor, if I may, my mother was cold to him because he cheated on her.
So is that true, Mr. Miller? You cheated on Miss Miller's mother?
No, Your Honor. I ended up marrying the woman and I have had children with the other woman, too, so...
Wait, you said no, but I married the other woman? So you did cheat?
No, Your Honor. We separated, and then we were married.
More lies, Your Honor.
All right. So it is your testimony that you were not in any other relationship until after you separated and divorced Ms. Miller's mother, and then you married someone else.
That's correct.
So keep going.
Long story short, later on I moved 2 states away. I was a plumber, and I still am today. And then she was basically shut out of my life. I tried to stay in contact with her. I would send birthday cards, Christmas gifts, never getting anything.
Your Honor, I never received any of these cards or gifts that he's speaking of. I don't know where this is coming from.
And I believe that, Your Honor, because her mother was that vindictive. She would keep things away from her and not allow me to contact her and have anything to do with her.
So, Mr. Miller, you say you did reach out, but you're saying your daughter's mother kept that away from you?
Yes.
And so you all were estranged for how many years?
Up until when she was 18. Then she reached out to me, and we started corresponding again, and we were building up a pretty good relationship for that time afterwards. She was going into college. I helped her finance her apartment. I helped her with part of her tuition. So up until that point, I'd say we were doing pretty good.
How did you find each other after all of those years?
I sought him out, Your Honor, because finally becoming an adult, turning 18, I finally had the chance to be able to have my own say and redefine my own relationship. I tackled forgiveness, and I sought after something that maybe I could just recreate with him, some form of a relationship. It might not have been parent-daughter, but I was seeking something, Your Honor.
I get that. Every child deserves the opportunity to know who their mother and their father is, and most importantly, how and if I can forgive him.
The issue with that, Your Honor, is that his love is just transactional.
Can you give me examples of that?
He tried to pitch in towards my tuition, towards a little bit helping me pay out for an apartment, made a little bit here and there to contribute, but Your Honor, to me, that's not redefining and building a relationship. And despite all of that, I still gave him a chance to be a part of my wedding.
And so you said it's transactional. So what you're saying is he'll pay for certain things, but you're not getting the time, the emotional connection.
Correct, Your Honor. There's 12 years of turmoil, of abandonment, of I didn't even get to understand who this guy was. He was just a stranger with a name to me. And for once, like years ago, I called him Dad, but then I got to a point where he was just a stranger in my life.
And so, Mr. Miller, did you think you were building a relationship?
I absolutely do think I was building a relationship. She had extended to me when she was getting married that she wanted me to be in the wedding to give her away, and I was like, okay.
I want to go back. How did you build the relationship besides just paying for certain things to help her? And let me be clear. Raising a child and supporting a child of yours, there is a financial component to it. No doubt.
That's not easy, Your Honor. I mean, to be 2 states away and try to build a connection or an emotional connection, I don't know how to basically tape that up in 12 years. I mean, I think that's been something we...
You just show up. All you have to do is show up. For one time, for the biggest day in my life, you just had to show up. That's all it took.
And I did show up. I was there.
Yeah, until you made an entire fit. And then I had to, I'm about to walk down the aisle, Your Honor. Before doing that, I had to retouch up my makeup, get all the tears out on my day.
Coming up.
So who told you they didn't want you there? Who gave you that look?
You gave me that look.
Yeah, after you yelled at me and made this day about you. You ostracized yourself by not showing up. And when you do, you ruin it.
We're back with a dispute between George Miller and his daughter, Brianna Miller, after he was cut out of her wedding.
So, Ms. Miller, I can see how emotional you are, and I understand why. Mr.
Honor,
Miller,
I
I do want you to respond to that, but I want you to respond specifically to this feeling that you say, which is in your petition, that you got cut out of it. What happened?
She came to me and said, look, you know, I need money to get to a reception hall. And I said, okay, how much do you need? She goes, I need $5,000 for the deposit. And I said, okay, that's a lot of money for me. I'm a plumber. I struggle to take care of my family, but I'll see what I can do. I did give her the money. Later on, you know, she needed more money for other things, so I stepped up occasionally and gave her more money for the wedding. When the wedding actually happened, it was on a Friday. I had to take off work, had to, by my own expense, fly down to there. It's a weird connection when you're going from Baltimore to North Carolina. I paid for the hotel. I get there the day before, which was supposed to be the rehearsal. I tried to reach out to her many times before then, never got any contact back. Was never allowed to show up to the rehearsal, so I never really knew what the heck was going on.
My bad, because I was putting on a wedding.
Yeah.
Because I was a bride and I was putting together a wedding.
So wait a minute. Did you assume you were walking down the aisle, or did she ask you to walk her down?
She said, I want you to be a part of my wedding and walk me down the aisle. And I said, okay, I will do that.
I said I wanted you to give me away to my now husband. I wanted your blessing, even though it meant zip to none. I still went past that forgiveness, went out of my way to give you another chance to have some significance in my life.
And so, wait a minute, Ms. Miller. So was it that you asked him to give you away, so you asked him to walk you down the aisle and give you away?
I asked him to give me away to my husband.
So what did that mean to you?
To me, that meant his blessing.
Okay. So now we see where a huge, huge miscommunication happened, because the phrase give you away, that's the part of the ceremony that comes right after the walk up the aisle. If you asked him to give you away, it is reasonable for him to think that means you meant walk you up the aisle.
And it's also reasonable for him to show up to the rehearsal dinner and clarify that.
And why didn't you come to the rehearsal dinner, Mr. Miller? You said you didn't know about it. How did you not? How did you fly in and you didn't get any information? You didn't have anybody to call?
I didn't. I didn't have any information. I kept reaching out to people. I got nothing back. So I showed up early the next day when I did finally get some information as far as where it was going to be held at. Then that's when I basically got the shuffle off to the side. Yeah, you're not in the wedding. You're going to be sitting back here. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm supposed to be part. I'm part of the wedding. I helped pay for the wedding. I want to talk to my daughter. So that's when I took her aside.
And you said to her, what's going on? I thought I was supposed to walk you down the aisle.
That is correct.
And then what happened, Ms. Miller?
I'll tell you right now, it was not a discussion. It was him yelling and getting mad that someone else, who rightfully so, took his place and walking me down the aisle and giving me way to my husband.
And what made you switch to your stepfather?
I decided in the rehearsal dinner, knowing that my biological dad did not show up. It wasn't even an option at that point. He wasn't there. He probably wasn't going to show up either.
So before the rehearsal dinner, you were going to have your biological father walk you down the aisle, and then at the rehearsal dinner, when you didn't see him, you decided to tell your stepfather to walk you down?
Correct. I solidified that decision, Your Honor.
All right. And meanwhile, you're thinking he didn't show up for you, and I get it. You want him there. He did show up for you with the $5,000, but he didn't show up for you. You thought he wasn't there.
With those
and you got triggered about all the abandonment and everything that had happened in all the years, and then you worked yourself up. And I will say, honey, bride brain is something else. So you get to the wedding, you get basically benched, Mr. Miller. I hate to say it like that, but that's what you felt like, I'm sure.
Correct.
And you watched somebody else play what you felt like should be your position. However, her stepfather, he obviously had a very significant part in your life if you asked him to walk you.
Yes.
So this was the man that raised you?
Yes.
So, Mr. Miller, given the circumstances and how long you had been estranged from your daughter, and I know you had done some financial, you've given financial support, is there a way that you could have just said, you know what, this is all working out odd, but we really just reconnected. I'm happy, she's happy. Why pull her aside and make a big thing about it? Why not just let the stepfather, you know this person stood in the gap. Why not just allow him the space to walk her down the aisle and allow her to have a day? Why express your disappointment then?
Well, I think, Your Honor, I think it was obvious. When I showed up, everybody just kind of shuffled me off and acted like I shouldn't be there.
Who said they didn't want you there? You were in the rehearsal hall. You weren't in the middle of the aisle amongst everyone in the ceremony.
Well, everybody
It was just me and you. It was just me and you. So who told you they didn't want you there? Who gave you that look?
You gave me that look.
Yeah, after you yelled at me and made this day about you. You ostracized yourself by not showing up. And when you do, you ruin it.
Coming up.
Explain the last 12 years. Parenthood? Kind of more than an agreement, isn't it? And you not being there, breaking a promise? Little hypocritical, huh? How do you explain that? Am I suing you for 12 years? No, I'm not. You're suing me for an airplane ticket?
We're back with a dispute between George Miller and his daughter Brianna Miller after he was cut out of her wedding.
So I can see there's a lot of anger here, and I am going to bet my bottom dollar that this is not just about the wedding, right? There's just a lot of unresolved issues that Ms. Miller is still carrying, and Mr. Miller, you've got to understand that. And to be very clear, you suing for $606 after you already gave her $5,000, what really is the point of that? Because you really want back your travel costs because you felt like you came in to walk her down the aisle, and when you got there, you got replaced. And I'm not saying you shouldn't feel a way. That would make anyone feel a way. But if you already gave $5,000 and you're not asking for that back,
right,
what is the $606 going to do?
It's to get her to acknowledge that she's just, you know, like her mother, she just basically blows off when something doesn't go her way. And
So
she's
are
not
you,
happy.
okay, all right, so now we're going there. And you know what, if it takes coming to We the People for you to go where you need to go, well, let's go. Because you just said she's acting like her mother. Now you are holding on from things in the past that you have not processed. You're projecting anger that you have with her mother on to her, and that's not fair either.
But when you agree to do something and not follow through on it and accept money and keep asking for more money, and then you just
So how do you have to explain the last 12 years? Parenthood? Kind of more than an agreement, isn't it? And you not being there, breaking a promise? Little hypocritical, huh? How do you explain that? Am I suing you for 12 years? No, I'm not. You're suing me for an airplane ticket?
Coming up.
Why are you hung up on that you didn't get to play a certain position?
I feel like I'm being treated like an ATM machine, you know, just call Daddy when you need.
We're back with a dispute between George Miller and his daughter Brianna Miller after he was cut out of her wedding.
You hear her, don't you?
I do.
And so if you've spent all of this money, a $606 plane ticket, why are you hung up on that you didn't get to play a certain position when it's a position you didn't play for the majority of her life anyway.
I feel like I'm being treated like an ATM machine, you know, just call Daddy when you need me.
I forgave you.
Is there a price to that forgiveness? Because I'm going to be clear. What I have learned, being a woman of a certain age and having been through many relationships, some good, some bad, right? Is that everyone has a different love language they speak, a way they express their love, right? It sounds like what Mr. Miller was doing by giving the money when you asked was trying to express to you, I love you, I want to be in your life. As a grown woman, he doesn't have to finance your wedding. It's customary that a bride's father and family finances the wedding, but these old customs, they're slowly dying out.
Your Honor, who spends $5,000 for a venue and doesn't know the location?
I don't know. He had the invitation. What I'm saying is we're getting lost in the semantics. Do you or do you not want to get past this with your father? You are hurt. I get it. But what I do hear is that a man who works as a plumber, who I'm sure doesn't necessarily have $5,000 and $10,000 to just throw around, found a way to get there, to get to you. In his mind, he did. But where do you want to go in the future?
I just don't want to fight so hard for my worth in his life anymore.
There it is.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Do you hear that, Mr. Miller?
I do.
So before I adjourn court, I want to ask you again, do you still want the money back for the flight? Or can you be comfortable and know that as a father, I may not have played the position that I wanted to play, but I showed up to the event, to the game, to her life?
I don't want the money, Your Honor.
I think that's a great decision. Would you like to give your daughter a hug?
I do.
Would that be okay, Miss Miller?
Yes.
I'm sorry I wasn't there.
Thank you. Very good. You can go stand with your father. You all been across the aisle long enough. It's time for you all to figure out how to remain on the same side of the aisle and not let life and misunderstanding separate you again. This is a new day and a new opportunity to grow together. Do you understand? Make the best of it. It's a blessing to have this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
So what's next for you?
We'll see.
Just rebuilding from here. Just rebuilding a new connection and a better foundation than transactions.
Sounds good. Follow me.